Today, two heavyweights meet in St. Louis. Fighting out of the red corner, the reigning, defending UFL champion.
Back to back to back spring football champs.
Spring football dynasty in Birmingham.
Touchdown, Birmingham.
Birmingham can do no wrong.
Fighting out of the blue corner, the challenger.
Battle ready and battle tested.
Bring that noise, Battlehawks.
Touchdown, Battlehawks. What a show they're putting on here in St. Louis.
Who doesn't want to take the champs down?
Bring your lunch. It's going to be an all-day job if you want to beat us.
We want to bring that championship home.
And we're going to do anything it takes to get that fourth.
Let's go!
Let's go!
The Birmingham Stallions, the St. Louis Battlehawks.
Today, in the gateway city to the south, it's the team from the south, the spring football champions 3 times over, the Birmingham Stallions that come a-calling to St. Louis to meet the Battlehawks. Anthony Beck, who played in St. Louis as a Ram, now leads the Battlehawks, and spring has sprung in the UFL. The 2 top teams in their respective divisions. So what's at stake? A Birmingham win or a Houston loss, the Stallions are in the playoffs with their 4th quarterback in 8 weeks. St. Louis needs a win and an Arlington loss. And if those things happen, they'll be in. You can make a great case that these 2 could meet again within the month for the UFL championship. What a story out of the Dunkin' Donuts in Vestavia Hills, Alabama. That's right, Jamar Smith a few weeks ago was putting glaze on some donuts, and then he got the call. His coach said, I need you. I had you at Louisiana Tech. I need you again in Birmingham. You won a title for me once, try to do it for me again. Jamar Smith. And on the opposite side, arguably the biggest name playing the quarterback position in the UFL, just a couple of years removed from being a Heisman finalist, to Caleb Williams at TCU. Max Duggan was out of football in 24. Boy, was he happy to get the call and come in to take over for Anthony Beck. And he's 3-0 as a starter. When we come back, Joel Klatt, Jenny Taft will join yours truly, Tim Brando, for what should be the best game in the regular season you've seen all year on Fox.
This is the greatest reality television.
He does it himself.
He's got a way to win 3 in a row. I don't think anybody's got 3 wins in a row in the league right now. We're excited to go back home to our great fans.
We welcome you back to the Dome at America Center. Here are the playoff picture that we touched on briefly at the top. Remember, in the hunt, both Arlington and the Roughnecks of Houston. But these 2 teams are in the driver's seat. No question about it. Need a little help, yes. But chances are they could be playing for the title of this league within the month. And let's go down to the sidelines where, once again, I'm reunited with Jenny Taft. Jenny, how do you do?
Great to hear your voice, Tim, and obviously, Jamar, you were the hero last week, coming off the bench in the 4th quarter, leading your team to the comeback. It's a simple question, but how good does it feel to be back leading this group?
The main word for me is gratitude. I'm blessed to be here. It's a great opportunity for me. A lot of guys will be back on this field, but for me, I'm just happy to be here and blessed.
I'm watching you with your teammates. Your personality is so infectious. There is a clear momentum with this group. How do you keep it going today and get the win?
I just bring the energy. Make sure we contribute to the guys. Make sure we with each other. We're here by ourselves. You know, we go into enemy's territory, and we want to go home as a team. So we just pick each other up, make sure we stand together, and come out here with victory.
Enjoy it.
Thank you. Giddy up, baby.
Giddy up indeed. And here we go. Skip Holtz, that's what he says before he calls every play. And Anthony Beck, former West Virginia star, and of course played not only for Don Nalen, but with Mark Bolger, who he would team up with for a year towards the end of his career after being a top-round pick with the Jets many years ago. Anthony Becht on the opposite side. And, oh, by the way, Joel Klatt, speaking of Peaches and Herb and reunited, it's good to be with you, partner.
It's great to be with you, as always, and always with Jenny as well. And these two teams, you know, obviously, as you've eloquently laid out, right in the playoff thick of things. But today is such an important day, obviously, and these two head coaches looking to each of their quarterbacks to provide a ton of stability.
And Marlon Williams brings out the kick, and he'll have the ball around the 25-yard line as Jamar makes his way out. Oh, by the way, little known but factoid that you probably need to know, because Joel needs to know or be reminded of. This guy was drafted by the San Diego Padres.
Oh, I remember.
In 2015. That would be the same team that drafted you.
Yeah, just 15 years removed. That's right. You know, it heartened me to see Jamar get in the game last week and lead that terrific game-winning drive. But obviously his familiarity with Skip's offense is what allows him to come in and have success right away.
By the way, in baseball, a catcher leads, right? In football, a quarterback leads. And that's what Jamar was as a baseball player. And the players to watch.
Well, Jay Sternberger finally got going last week, the tight end for Birmingham. That's a huge deal for them right in the middle of the field. Deion Kane is really their main weapon on the outside. Watch out for Pita Tamuapenu. He leads the league in sacks. He is a game wrecker off the edge. And Willie Harvey has always been a guy that is always around the football. But you've got to pay attention to Tamuapenu. He's a guy that can wreak havoc in the backfield of an offense.
2nd down and 7. Maribel, the Coastal Carolina star, takes it beyond the 30 to the 33 in the arms of 92 Phil Hoskins. This defense is without their two starting defensive ends, Pesavea and Falu, but they're quality backups, Baugh and Hoskins, with Isaiah Mack in the middle of that defensive front for St. Louis. It's 3rd and 3.
Yeah, and these third downs, they become so important, in particular early in the game, and in particular in this location. Crowd noise is an issue here in St. Louis with the faithful on their feet.
Now, they draw more than any other team in this league, although inclement weather conditions probably affecting the crowd today. On the slant, incomplete. Nice job defensively. Pass was intended for Davion Davis. It falls incomplete. It'll be 4th down and 3. That was Lucas Dennis in coverage, number 23.
Yeah, well, what they're trying to do is get this in-breaking route over here on the left side. And you're going to see a little bit of a dropout from the linebacker, and he's in the window, but it's just better defense. And Dennis comes right over the top, bats that ball away, and forces the punt on this first series of the game.
Colby Wadman will punt it away. Should get it off around his 21 on 4th down and 3. Shakur Pearson is back deep in single safety.
Okay. I have pressure.
Oh, and he'll let that one bounce, and it does go into the end zone for the touchback. And the players to watch for the Battlehawks of Max Duggan.
Well, I tell you, Duggan obviously is the guy. But if you're looking at this offense, you got to pay attention to Jacob Sailors. Now, he was a little better early in the season than what they have been of late running the football. But Duggan has picked that up, running the ball from the quarterback position. Akeem Butler. I keep coming back to Akeem Butler. He was the player of the year last year on the offensive side of the ball. But in 4 games this year, Timmy, only 4 catches. That's got to pick up for them. By the way, 3 of those are touchdowns. And then Bradley Anai for Birmingham. Watch out for him specifically, as was the case with Tamuapenu on the opposite side. This guy is a game wrecker. He's in the backfield constantly, and he's leading one of the better defenses in the league.
Jacob Sailors, you can make a case he's the best player on any field in this league when he's out there. Duggan going deep, and he's got an open man. Knocked away. Beautiful defensive work as Shakur Pearson had a couple of steps on the defender that time. This could have been a huge play. It was Madre Harper in coverage.
I love this route. First of all, it's a tight formation, and then he's got that outside release and comes back into the post, and he's got the time. He's got the separation. Duggan's got to get that ball out in front. You see this hitch? He takes 2-3 hitch steps up into the pocket. That means he's late. If you take 3 hitch steps, you better throw that thing as far as you possibly can, but the wide receiver Pearson's got to wait for it, and it's batted away.
On 2nd and 10, Jacob Sailors makes his way through, the former free agent pickup of the Bengals, stopped by Marvin Wilson. Sailors is a guy that can beat you in a variety of ways. There are the numbers on Duggan. We've talked often, Joel, even in his college days. You and I saw a lot of him at TCU, even that great year that he had. But that unorthodox throw has always been an issue for him. But boy, is he a tough competitor.
Well, he's just such what I would just call him is this guy has the competitive spirit. You put him between the lines, you give him a clock on the scoreboard, he's going to play his best.
That was a bullet on 3rd down and 4 for Frank Darby. Darby had a couple of big catches in a much-needed drive against Memphis a week ago. And it'll be 4th down and a punt formation coming up.
It was there. Duggan put it on him. It's the right route. Darby has got to catch that ball, and Birmingham, the beneficiary, that was going to move the chains, and the drop leads to a punt.
Sterling Hoffrichter out of Syracuse handles the punting chores, and Davion Davis awaits for Birmingham. A lot of hang time, but Davis finds a little bit of a gap, gets a quality return after a 44-yard boot. Jerome Kapp comes down on special teams to make the stop. From Louisiana Tech with love, these two have been together a long time. At this stage, it's nice to debut at anything, and I'm getting to do my first ever UFL game. But look at those FOBs there, Joel. Friends of Brando. That's Holtz before the national championship game in Tempe. And that's his son Skip with me on my former radio show. And Anthony Beck played for Don Naylor, and I called a number of his games. He came out with Mark Bulger, Amos Zaraway. Remember those guys in West Virginia?
I remember those guys. I absolutely do. Listen, Tim, you're a legend. You have worked with some of the best in the business, there's no doubt, and done some of the biggest and best events throughout the years. I knew you would have pictures. That's the other thing. Having worked with you for a year, I knew you would have photos. You're a great photo taker, sir.
Ricky Persons in the backfield. It's 1st down from the 35. Pump fake and a beauty. Smith lets it fly on the sideline route. He's got Deion Kane, touchdown.
You talk about courage in the pocket. Watch Jamar Smith. First of all, the pass is unbelievable, right? I mean, it is so good. We'll talk about that in a second. Check out the courage. You got a linebacker bearing down right in your chest. He stands in there, takes the hit, and this ball is thrown perfectly down the sideline to Deion Kane. Kane didn't have to break stride. In fact, he got to accelerate through the ball. That's the hit in the chest of Jamar. And then, boom, it's a touchdown for Birmingham. Beautiful release on the outside by Deion Kane. And again, he just has to accelerate through the ball. The yards after the catch. Beautiful job.
They are going to go for 2 here for the extra point. So they line up at the 5-yard line and go empty. He can run it. He did it a week ago. This time just shy. He tried to go for the end zone line, but he lost the ball on the way there, so the attempt fails. It's 6. By the way, he had Mike Rose, one of the outstanding linebackers, former Iowa State star, piercing down on him. But that rainbow off the pump fake and slingshot, baby. We got a 6-0 lead.
I always wanted Jamar on this roster. Ever since the 3rd game, he has been texting me with regret about the decision that he made and how much that he wants to be back involved. I think the world of this guy. We've been together a long time. That's how this gray got in this beard right here. You know what? It's because I was with Jamar. Well, I'm that too.
And moments ago, a 65-yard touchdown strike. That's the longest play of the season for Birmingham, Joel.
Well, and like you said about that pump fake, it frees the middle safety, Mike Rose, bearing down on Jamar, and he had the courage to stand in there. And that was a beautiful ball. And Deion Kane, by the way, he has been the deep threat for them. And we've seen that a couple of times this year. Regardless of quarterback, we've seen it with Matt Corral, we've seen it with Case Cookus, now Jamar Smith. By the way, this is the 5th quarterback that has played for Skip this year. This is the 4th starter for Skip this year alone.
Unbelievable.
And he just continues to have guys play well. But again, I'll go back to this familiarity. At La Tech, he was a guy that played a lot of football for Skip.
And a reminder, this is a guy that played behind Luke McCown and Tim Rattay, okay, both with NFL pedigree and some coaching pedigree. And that's what he wants to do, by the way, is coach. He's working his way towards becoming one. And he's third all-time at Louisiana Tech in passing. Here's Gary Jennings bringing this one back up to the 35-yard line. The ball is loose. Ball is loose, but apparently it's going to be, we'll just have to wait. See as they untangle who's got the football. Looks like it might be Birmingham.
Hey, let him go, let him go, let him go.
That's Ty Crowder. It's on top of it.
Okay.
Number 20. He's not letting go, I know this. Crowder is not letting go of the football. Well, this may be one that involves our command center. Might get Dean Blandino to work here pretty quickly.
The ruling on the field is a recovery by the kicking team. Correct.
Yeah. So they're saying we've got a marker down too. Yeah, I think this could be Birmingham's football.
Gotta make an announcement.
Jennings returning it. Crowder on top of it.
Made an announcement, but apparently the stadium mic isn't working, that it's a recovery by the kicking team.
Yep. Well, the stadium announcement is, in fact, that it does belong to Crowder and Birmingham. Let's see.
Well, the ball's definitely out. You see that great punch right there on the special teams. Beautiful job punching that ball away.
Peanut Tillman moment here. 16. Daniel Isom.
And there's the punch. Ball is out, and then it becomes, is there like clear evidence of a recovery?
Yep.
And they gave it to the kicking team. And I tell you what a sequence of events here, Tim.
Yeah.
In the last couple of snaps, you get the long touchdown and now a special teams turnover.
Mario Goodrich is who punched it out. And here's Dean Blandino. Dean?
A lot of moving parts on that one. First, was it a fumble? And it was. And then you've got to figure out in the pile, as Joel was saying, who had the football. The officials go in and dig. They gave it to Birmingham. There was also a flag on the play for an illegal block in the back against St. Louis. That obviously is declined. And so all that said, it's going to be Birmingham's ball, 1st and 10.
Well, good job, Dean. And that command center is busy here early. There you saw kind of that immediate recovery. And now what an opportunity here for Birmingham to take a big lead.
Person inside the 30 to the 29, and here's Jennings.
Well, you know, I had planned to talk to Jamar there, but things happened real quick, and he ran back out there as quick as he could. Look, I know we played that press conference between he and Skip Holtz. Their relationship runs deep. We know they go back to college. And I asked him about his head coach before the game, and he said, if I could write a book about anyone, it would be about Skip. He's almost a father figure to me. He gave me a scholarship. He gave me a chance, and he was patient with me this season. He knew if he brought me back, I'd be ready. And look what we're watching, guys.
Well, if you're calling Skip the quarterback whisperer of the spring, Exhibit A is Jamar Smith. That pass falls incomplete, intended for the tight end, Jay Sternberger. Lucas Dennis, 23 in coverage. 3rd down coming up.
You know, the key is you got to see the game like Skip sees the game. You know, sitting here and listening to all these play calls, he calls these with specific ideas of what he wants the quarterback to do. Wonder here about maybe 4-down territory. Would he go for it on 4th down? You know, I don't know. After a turnover like that, possibly.
Boy, what a great read that was by Smith, huh? And this offense is perfect for Smith. That's Ken Muladoon that makes the tackle, number 98. And he's the only starter in that forward wall, but it's shy of the 1st down, it appears, by about a half yard. And it is 4th down.
Hey!
It's less than 1.
2 things. 2nd and 3. Hand the ball off. Hand the ball off. Playing outside leverage, trying to throw a 5 to our tight end. Hand the ball off, and we need 3 yards, too.
Well, what I
He's
thought,
talking about that 2nd down.
Yeah.
Listen, I thought at 4th and 1, you got a running quarterback. I would have gone for it again there.
Same here.
Run on 3rd and 3, Tim, almost signals that you're going to go for it on 4th, and they don't, and they kick the field goal.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised too. Harrison Mavis, who, by the way, has only missed one field goal. That was a 63-yarder that turned into a kick six. We've got 2 kickers today that are 31 of 32. They've only missed one between them.
I've been told that's quality.
Today's game is brought to you by Progressive. Progressive protects your home, auto, boat, motorcycle, and RV, and could save you money. And by Dr. Pepper. Try new Dr. Pepper Blackberry and Dr. Pepper Blackberry Zero Sugar today.
And welcome back to St. Louis. Well, unfortunately for the area yesterday, they did deal with some severe weather, tornadoes, extreme thunderstorms. Both teams flew in and dealt with some serious turbulence. Now, I just spoke with Birmingham's Barry Wesley. He said it was the worst roller coaster he had ever been on. He said, I was grateful I didn't have a window seat because the guys who did, some were sick. Walkthroughs looked differently yesterday. Coaches and players were pretty shaken up. Obviously, it was a pretty serious situation yesterday. Everyone here, we're back playing, but of course, a lot of weather in St. Louis that unfortunately we all dealt with.
Yeah, indeed. And Jenny, of course, made her way in early this morning. The turbulence, though, has subsided. We're indoors, and the fans that have made it are certainly feeling some anxiety now as the home team has fallen down by 9. Jennings will take a knee. Here's Bradley Anae, Joel, who I know has captured your attention all season.
Yeah, he's been their best pass rusher and one of the best in the league. He leads the league in quarterback pressures, and he's a big reason why this defense has been so effective. Tim, this defense is the best defense in the league as it relates to scoring. Only giving up about 15.5 points per game. I think that they do that mostly by having what I would call the best front in the UFL. They're #1 in rushing yards allowed, #1 in red zone touchdown percentage, and that's really where they make their hay. It's not necessarily in the middle of the field, it's just preventing points once teams enter that red zone.
From the 35, out pattern to the tight end Sutherland. And Jake Sutherland has a first down out beyond the 45-yard line. Only one catch a week ago for 8 yards, 12 on that one, and you would think that they would go more towards him and to Chase Allen. They've got good tight ends on this St. Louis roster. Same is true really for Birmingham, and when they got the tight ends involved last week in the second half, made a huge difference in that comeback victory, falling down 25-6 against Houston a week ago. Nice bounce out. Sailor can try to get anywhere. Manages the 50. And DeMarquise Gates, number 47. There's Corey Chamblin, the defensive coordinator, who very quietly has done an outstanding job here.
And one of the things that I really admire is that he's patient. So many defensive coordinators, they get antsy and they want to make stops all over the field. And listen, that's well and good, but the key is preventing points. And he understands that you prevent points by preventing big plays and then not allowing teams to run the football once they get into the red zone. And that's 2 things that they're really good at.
And coverage that time, and it leads to a penalty flag coming down. Jacour Pearson being defended by the nickelback Isom, and he got a little handsy with him. And that appears to be the infraction. Francisco Villar is our referee today. Eric Oliver handling replay.
Well, here's the contact, and I think they got him earlier than this last contact right there, because that ball is severely underthrown, but there's a bit of a grab earlier on. I think that's where they got him. You see that ball thrown way out in front and even out of bounds as that flag came out.
Well, that's a gift. From the 45, first down. Duggan under some heat. Lets it fly. Just wanted to get it out of there. Became a dangerous pass as it hung in the air in the direction of Sailors. Yarbari with the pressure, the defensive tackle 97. And he broke free.
Yeah, here he comes right in here, and because of that, Yarberry with a terrific rush, and now he's right in the face of Duggan, who actually gets pretty lucky because that ball was way over the head of Jacob Sailors and could have been picked off. You know, tips and overthrows, those are things you, in every level of football, tips and overthrows usually wind up in the hands of the defense. And right there, Duggan was lucky that it was not intercepted.
Yeah, that hit on the elbow forced the ball to flail a bit. And look at this snap over his head. A fortuitous bounce. And he gets it past the line of scrimmage, so a flag does come down, maybe shy of the line of scrimmage, in which case we could be seeing another penalty.
I wonder if they were in the neutral zone there. They got a pretty good jump on that.
44?
Either that and or a formation
44.
issue.
Preliminary indication is offsides.
Offside. Number 44, the defense was in the neutral zone to snap. 5-yard penalty, still second down.
You were on that one. You haven't lost a step since we've been together.
I appreciate that, partner. Here we go over on the outside, and we watch just a little bit of an early start here on the offense's left. And boy, that bails them out again. So now a couple of penalties on the defense have allowed St. Louis now deep into the territory of Birmingham, now inside the 30-yard line.
Second down and 5. Duggan looks for the corner. Incomplete, intended for Jennings. Some safety help was coming that time for Goodrich. He got it from Isom.
Well, it's not great coverage until the end. And this ball needs to be thrown way back towards that back pylon. So that we've seen now twice Duggan short these wide receivers down the field, and a little contact right there as Goodrich was up into the chest of the wide receiver, Harry Jennings, before that ball arrived. I'm surprised that there wasn't a flag there.
I'm with you. 3rd and 5. Duggan under a lot of pressure again. And he just sort of eats it, and we've got another flag down, so hang on. That little yellow hanky has been popping out here in this series.
We're going to tack that on to the end of the run.
It is on the defense.
Run in and behind the line. Illegal contact for 32 of the defense. 5-yard penalty with an automatic first down.
A.J. Thomas, strong safety out of Western Michigan, is tagged.
Well, you know, here's Thomas right here working against Butler, and you see the contact, and he just keeps his hands on him, and now that's the 3rd penalty that has given life to this drive for St. Louis. You know, we had the long one, and then the offside, and then here a little illegal contact, and now Corey Chamberlain is going to have to lean on that great red zone defense. Not quite in the red zone yet, but this is where Birmingham is at their best.
Boy, Sailors just showing how resourceful he is. Trey Norwood, the free safety, has to come up and make the stop. And he leads the St. Louis Battlehawks in receiving yards, too. He's an all-purpose back.
Well, look at how he just bounces off of tackles, and no one wrapping him up there until they're finally able to get him to the ground. That was Trey Norwood that finally gets arms around him. But he's such a physical runner. He's not a huge guy. He's only 5'10", 199, but he's a physical runner in between the tackles.
2nd and 1. He'll burrow through for the first down, and they are just outside the 10 at the 11.
Well, this was a team that ran the ball so well in the first opening couple of weeks of the season. 218 yards per game on the ground, and Sailors was a big part of that. But Phil McGagan, he's wanted more, and it's been mostly Max Duggan in the last couple of weeks earning it, and now finally getting back to Sailors. And this is what you have to do to Birmingham. If you want to penetrate that red zone defense, you've got to be able to run the football right at them. It softens everything up on the edge.
Jackson, they'll use him in a variety of ways. Former Division III quarterback. And let's listen in.
Wide box right, empty, 18, Q truck, H bubble. Z short to wide box right, empty, 18, Q truck, H bubble.
Here we go. Hey, Z short to gun, wide bunch right, empty, 18, Q truck, H bubble. Don't worry.
All right, so I think this is a quarterback kind of power And then if they get too many guys in the box, which they don't right now, with 2 safeties, this should be a quarterback power right here.
This is a go zone for Duggan, always has been. And that's why. That is why, right there. Touchdown, Battlehawks.
Well, they ran it right at them in the interior with Sailors, and now here to cap it off, it's just Duggan around the edge. A little quarterback sweep on the outside. Good blocking down the field by the wide receivers, and you're exactly right, Tim. That is the wheelhouse for Max Duggan. The competitive spirit comes out when this guy can run the football, and he has a nose for the goal line, has had it since he was a college player at TCU. And what a quality series there for St. Louis. Again, helped by those 3 penalties by the Birmingham defense. But here's Duggan getting himself into the end zone.
You see they line it up at the 2-yard line, so they'll go for 1 here. And we have a momentary pause, perhaps a timeout.
Hands to the face on number 75.
Or maybe we're going to get a challenge here.
On our number 30.
So hands to the face, offense number 75.
Yes, it's 75. Their left tackle on number 30. 75. We're sure about this. 75 on 30.
These super challenges, you've got to be very specific, Joel.
75, the left tackle. That's what I'm saying.
I'm just saying, that's a penalty.
Okay, let's find 75.
Birmingham is challenging that there was hands to the face.
Okay, so
75 in the previous play.
Yeah, I'm on the coach's high left end zone. He's away from the play, but he clearly goes right to the face, knocks the helmet off, knocks him to the ground. That's a foul. So we've got hands to the face. Frank, we do have hands to the face on 75. It's a clear blow. His head knocks the helmet off. So we've got the spot of the foul at the 3-yard line.
Yeah, there it is. Yep.
It's during the run, so we have to enforce it from the spot of the foul.
So going from the 3 to the 18. Do you have any lateral position for
It's a 10-yard penalty. So,
10 yard.
Yeah, it's in the middle of the field. It's right between the hashes.
If a smile looks guilty, then that's what we've got.
Illegal hands to the face for 75 of the offense. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul.
That one's not difficult to find.
No, it's not.
Great work upstairs for Skip.
He's laughing right there. Here's another look, and this is Jared Jones-Smith, 75, and that big paw goes up there, and he just he knocks Chappelle Russell right over and his helmet off. Not easy. Not a hard call, an easy call, certainly.
That's what it looks like for a referee when you give a controversial call there.
That's hilarious. And a great use of the super challenge. You know,
Absolutely.
I keep saying, you know, sometimes we see these frivolous challenges that are only going to get you a number of yards here in the middle of the field early in the game. But when you can negate a score, that is when it is of best use, and a great use right there by Skip Holtz.
Very easy to miss, too, because the play itself was really unaffected by the foul. But it was a foul. No question about that. Look out! The go zone. Max Duggan says, period, exclamation point, I got you again.
Well, St. Louis has found something here formationally. 2 snaps in a row. Duggan's been able to run it in. Watch this. Here you've got all 4 of these players, 2 safeties and 2 linebackers, way separated, which means look at the middle of the field. It's wide open. Why? Because it's an empty formation. There's no backs in the backfield with Max Duggan. They did it on the previous snap. They ran that sweep over to the right side and scored a touchdown. Here they spread things out, and Duggan sees the middle of the field. It's wide open, and he just takes it himself in for a touchdown. I tell you, they have found something against this Birmingham defense, and now it's going to be on Corey Chamblin to have to adjust, because that empty formation is causing havoc right now on this Birmingham D.
Sailors. Well, he is very close, but it is ruled no good.
Well, I guess Jared Jones-Smith is off the hook. That's why he had that wry smile, Tim. He knew. He's like, hey, my quarterback's got me.
Well, not unlike an analyst having his play-by-play guy, or
or vice versa.
Yeah,
that's exactly right.
It's all about team.
You have my back more than you know, sir.
There's no I in team, but there is in Timmy B.
That's exactly right.
On a slant fade, because he's playing so inside, we can't run a slant, right? So that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So 17 pump, we ought to go right by him. Okay. Great job going to the backside, standing in there. Great job getting the ball down the field. Look at the short. You got 3 over 2 and 2 over 1, and 1 on 1 to the left. Find the numbers.
And now we go above and beyond, brought to you by Jersey Mike's. Let's go back to that slant and go. I want you to watch Jamar freeze the middle safety. See that pump right there? The safety is frozen, eyes on the right side of the defense. That opens up the entire area for Deon Cain to get down the field, and that is Deon Cain's third 50-yard touchdown or more this season. And it all happened because the coaching staff, they see something in the defense, and then Jamar goes out there and executes it. And again, Tim, like I said, this is about the familiarity, not just with the offense and the schematics, but also how this man thinks and how he operates. You've got to be able to have thick skin as a quarterback, frankly, and this is not a knock. This is to deal with Skip, because he's going to coach you on every single snap, and he's going to give you information, and you have to have thick enough skin to go in there and receive that information and then put it to good use.
Play calling head coaches are always that way. They really are. And Skip's always been a guy that called his own plays. He functions that way. And a nice return by Cade Johnson. And the quarterback carousel, speaking of, moving at full speed. Alex Magoo started the season opener. He got hurt. Matt Corral, the former Ole Miss star, played well. He got hurt. Case Cookness was cooking. Then he got banged up. Enter Andrew Peasley, who got some run before he, too, became part of the MASH unit. And entered Jamar Smith after the phone call came, and he's back in the saddle again. Formerly number 6, now number 1 in your hearts, Birmingham. 9-6 our score. Davion Davis, the wide receiver. Maribel, the setback. Uh-oh. Ball came free.
Come on, Jamar,
Smith gets on top of it.
Let's win a football game. Let's go. Come on now. Hand it off. If you have a doubt, hand the ball off. Let's get something moving. I'm tired of going backwards. Let's go. Here we go. Let's go, Lion. Here we go. Let's go, Lion, Lucky, Apollo, odd switch. Lion, Lucky, Apollo, odd switch. Come on.
See, that's them knowing each other.
Yeah.
Right there, you know, and Jamar, so Skip knows Jamar can handle that and might even get Jamar going a little bit.
Second down, 13. Have some premature movement on the left side of that Birmingham offensive line.
False start. 73 of the offense. 5-yard penalty, still second down.
Yep. Second and 15. Here we go. There's our second and 17. Here we go. Lion, Lucky, Apollo, odd switch. Lion, Lucky, Apollo, odd switch.
The body language says one thing, the communication, something different. Stay cool. Smith under the gun, shovels it out. And that's Maribel out to the 32.
Here we go. All right, here we go. 3rd and 13. Here we go. Let's go. Let's go Ram. Here we go. Let's go Big Ram. Let's go Big Ram. Here we go. Let's go Cougar. 58 Larry. Big Ram. Cougar. 58 Larry. Big Ram. Cougar 58.
His dad would have needed salt shakers at dinner to tell you which way the play was going to go. 3rd down and 13 here. Marcus Baugh is in at tight end, number 85. Pressure, and down he goes at the 25. Willie Harvey the weak side linebacker, another one of those Cyclones from Iowa State. There is a strong connection with Anthony Becht and that program of Iowa State's.
Going on the field as the quarterback's progress was stopped prior to the ball coming loose. 4th down.
Ball did come loose late, but he was already down. And a punt formation coming up.
Well, you're exactly right. Harvey was in there. Travis Feeney was in there as well. And you can see that they're trying to rip at that ball, and it looks like the shin was down. They ruled progress was stopped, so not even reviewable there. Even if Anthony Becht wanted to try to super challenge that, he cannot because of the announcement by the official on the field. And a good job by this defense. And again, this defense, like Birmingham, they've been one of the better defenses in the league. 2 straight weeks they've held opponents under 10 points. So this is a good defense playing really well of late.
That was a forgettable offensive series for Birmingham. The punt fielded by Pearson, and Jacour gets it up to the 41, and we've got a marker down.
Go curl flat, bang, give him the ball. I want the ball out of your hands.
Get it out quickly, says the coach. Check the flag now.
Receiving team. During the kick, so we're going to tack that on from the end of the kick. 48. During the return, holding. 48 of the receiving team. 10-yard penalty will be 1st and 10 for St. Louis.
56 seconds remaining in the opening quarter. Hit and miss early. Big time plays, and then going backwards. These two teams battling it out for the postseason on Fox. 9-6 our score. We've got a game break for you. Others on Fox are watching Michigan and Houston. Bryce Perkins not playing today, so enter Danny Etling, the former LSU quarterback that transferred in from Purdue. Here he is hitting Malik Turner for the touchdown. They've scored since again to make it a 14-3 game. Our friends Connor Onion and my partner in college football, Devin Gardner, working that one. And there's what the stakes are. Birmingham needs a win, but by the way, if Michigan goes down, we're talking about a team. That last touchdown was good news for the Birmingham Stallions.
Huge, and Skip's not thinking about that, but they can, regardless of outcome today, clinch a playoff spot if Houston were to go down in that game against Michigan. So keep our eye on it.
Little swing pass out to Jacour Pearson at the 20-yard line. He stopped. Crowder on top of him. That's a loss of a yard. I should mention also that our friend Robert Smith is a part of that broadcast team there. Speaking of outstanding running backs.
This defense, like I said, they've been one of the best, if not the best defense in the league. But right now they're playing with basically their 2 stars not in the game. Ronnie Perkins, he went to IR with an injury, and Bradley Anae, who's been outstanding, has not been in the last couple of series. Told that he's got a hamstring issue.
Well, a lot of pressure off the edge, and Duggan showing his resourcefulness yet again. Meanders past the 25 to the 28, and again it's Crowder in the middle of that defense that makes the stop as we come to the end of the first quarter.
Yeah, they got away with a bit of a face mask right there. Perrion Winfrey grabbed the face mask. Duggan was asking for it. But I got to tell you, fireworks early from Jamar, from Max Duggan. The offenses have been great in the first quarter. It's 9-6 Birmingham. We'll be back after this.
As we were going to break, Joel mentioned about a possible face mask, and Dean Blandino can explain for us. There was a challenge from St. Louis, and Dean, you can take it from there.
So what you're looking for, is there a grab, and then is there a pull, a twist, a turn? There's no grab. The hand gets into the mask, but it's a graze, and you got to watch it at full speed. Slow motion is always going to distort it a little bit. Full speed, you can see Duggan's head, it barely moves, and he keeps going. So that's not a 15-yard penalty, not something we want called on the field, and we're going to stick to that standard in replay.
Yeah, it's interesting that you went real time there. You know, and as I was looking at this during the break, Dean, I agree with you. You know, there wasn't a grab. Just because he grazed and the head slightly moves doesn't rise to the level of a 15-yard face mask. So I would agree with you. And St. Louis challenging on a 2nd down play. They still had 3rd and 8 and still have 3rd and 8 here. You know, and again, I think when you look at these super challenges, there is a massive difference between the coaches that save their challenges for points-driven decisions versus yards-driven decisions.
Anthony Becht would beg to disagree, but I will say this about Anthony, his approach. He's an emotional guy. He will react to that emotion as former players might. And here comes a sack off the edge, a lot of pressure, and there was no denying the trouble that they were in. Look at Maximilian Roberts, 44, coming through here on Duggan.
Great rush by Maximilian Roberts around the outside, and he gets to Duggan, and all Duggan can do is cover up. And listen, I think Anthony Becht has done a remarkable job. I think he's one of the better coaches in this league. He does an outstanding job, and I don't want to harp on him for a super challenge, but the strategic usage there for yards, in particular, Tim, when you're not even getting yourself into field goal range there, you're still on your own side of the 50-yard line. Those yards, let's just talk it out from a percentage standpoint. The percentage of scoring, even if you get the automatic first down on that side of the 50, is still lower.
Yeah.
And so, again, the super challenge and the strategic nature with which you use it has got to be looked at in this league. And after 3 years now of sitting here and doing these games, I can just tell you the best time to use challenges are always scoring opportunity challenges versus yards-driven challenges.
Well, you see how it works with the super challenge. And frankly, I love the rule because it fixes something that in the past would never be fixed. And it's one of the innovations to the game, Joel, as someone that's been watching these games, not calling them as you have. I love that part of the game. I love that part of the game.
And Anthony Becht is generally, I would say, the best in the UFL at the super challenge. What a sack here, ball out.
Oh, yeah, and a scoop and possible score. That's Domapino who comes away with it. And it was Feeney that stripped it. 56 Feeney, and Peter Domapenu, who is everywhere on the field, comes up with the big recovery.
Well, just pay attention to these two edge rushers. They're both stood up. It's going to be Feeney that gets to the quarterback first. But then on the opposite side, it's Peter Domapenu, and he's going to scoop this one up. Here's 56. He gets the free rush right there. The ball is out, clearly out, and then there's his partner on the opposite side. Tamupenu is able to pick it up, and St. Louis now with great field position and an opportunity to put more points on the board. This defense has been outstanding. They have won 3 straight largely because of their defense. Back-to-back games giving up under 10 points, and here setting their offense up inside the 10.
From the 7, Sailors the setback. They go with 3 wide. Sailors. He got all of that he could just inside the 3-yard line. Something Jamar may be finding out today in a starting position after coming in to salvage a game. We got a late flag on the field, so we'll have to check that out. He has failed to feel some of the pressure, Joel.
Offense, number 87, eligible receiver, was covered. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
Well, that'll back him up. But when you've been away from the game as he has, sometimes, right, you don't feel that pressure necessarily.
Yeah, feel is developed through reps. You know, it's similar to golf, and I know you love to play golf. If you don't play for a while, what leaves first? Your feel. And so your touch shots around the green. You know, it's not always just, hey, you can make throws down the field. You know, he's done that a million times. But the feel in the pocket is certainly something that is a reps-driven thing. And right now, not quite feeling that rush of the Battlehawks as it gets to him on that sack.
First and goal from the 12. On the read, Duggan for the pylon. Touchdown. His 5th touchdown rushing of the year, his 2nd today.
They stay in this 2-deep safety look, and they are getting killed with the quarterback run. As we take a look at the pylon to see if Duggan was able to touch that pylon with the football, he sure did. Again, this guy has a nose for that goal line, the competitive spirit of number 14. He's able to get to that pylon, get the ball into the end zone, and another rushing touchdown for Max Duggan. Duggan's threat with his legs in the red zone has been so effective here today.
Going for one here. A little underneath. Screen. Sailor's got it. I believe he's going to be granted the extra point. He is. He just dumped it off. And there wasn't a lot of room. He could have been stopped. That surprised him, no doubt about it. They didn't see a pass going inside that time. What could be a critical extra point in this game. This is what started it. Jamar didn't feel it. And Domopenu made him pay, as did Duggan. Feeney got it started too with that strip. And Jamar, not a happy camper.
And welcome back to St. Louis. Figured it was important to talk to this guy, Max Duggan, another rushing touchdown for you today. Max, if you don't mind taking me through the score and your vision, what you saw here.
Yeah, just zone read, and we have protection with our Y coming around, and so I'm just reading this this DN. He comes down, pull it. Keem and Chase do a phenomenal job of getting on their blocks, and you just got to try to find a way into the end zone. O-line, running backs, everyone, receivers doing their job, so it was good.
What can you tell me about just what the defense has been doing? Travis Feeney told me before he went out there, he said, watch this. There was some frustration by the calls that were not going your way. How has your defense just been performing for you guys today?
Yeah, they play phenomenal every single week, and we rely on them. They do their jobs. They come up big for us all the time, and you know, we're trying to play complementary football with them right now.
Thanks for the time.
Thank you.
Had a conversation earlier this week with Max, and Joel, you know, he's making his home in Fort Worth now, and he's really enjoying it. But one of the things that's happened since he's taken over as quarterback is the defense has come back to life.
Yeah.
First two games, they averaged giving up 7.5. Last two games, they've averaged giving up 7.5. In between, they were averaging giving up 28.9. So says a lot about how they've come to life. And injuries figured into that. Here's Marlon Williams with a return. And he gets it up to the 23-yard line. Well, 4 teams have separated themselves from the pack in the UFL. All are at 5-2. The DC Defenders, St. Louis Battlehawks, the Stallions, of course, and the Michigan Panthers. And as you mentioned, now that the league and the merger of the two have taken place and you see these conferences, we have seen some organizations get stability and others that are still in flux.
Yeah, well, you know, these two specifically, you know, these coaches have been around for a few years. They've got a lot of players that have been on these teams for 2 and 3 years, and you've got a lot of coaches on the coaching staff that have been in here for 2 and 3 years. So that continuity has led to what I feel like is more quality and less mistakes. You know, so many times in football, and this is every level of football. Bill Belichick talks about this. A lot of coaches talk about this. They'll tell you that more games are lost than they are won. And that's not a knock. That's just throughout the game. So if you can have some continuity and minimize mistakes, you're going to win a lot of football games. That's what Skip Holtz has been able to do with Birmingham. That's what Anthony Becht has been doing here with St. Louis as well. But these two guys have really been the model of this league for a couple of years.
2nd down and 2. Maribel. And let's get up with Skip once again. Here we go. Here we go.
All right, here we go. Let's go Ram jump. Ram jump. Let's go Gator. 16 fade. Timber up front.
I love that,
Ram
Joel.
Jump, Gator,
you
16,
can hear him thinking
Gator,
to himself, and that sense of urgency is verbalized. Here we go. Here we go.
Here we go. Here we go.
Timber.
Not unlike his father in a lot of ways, but so unique to himself as a head coach. From the 43, they go empty. Incomplete the pass. Ball was tipped, it appeared, at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Here we go. Let's go Razor. Here we go. Razor free. Razor free. Bronco odd. Razor free. Razor. No. Razor Ricky. Bronco odd. Razor Ricky. Bronco odd.
Ram Ricky. Bronco odd. I'm ready.
2nd down and 10. Person, the big burly back. He's a tough runner. He gets it up to about the 48-yard line. Phil Hoskins the tackle.
Let's go Ram. Ram, flow, Florida, 29 Yahtzee. Ram, flow, Florida, 29 Yahtzee.
You notice that little cut he's got on his cheek. He finally got the shave, Joel, after getting over 30 points in a game. His wife, Jennifer, wanted to make sure that they got that mustache off, which turned into a beard, and he cut himself. 3rd and 6. Slant, caught, Sternberger, the tight end.
Well, they see they have man coverage because of that motion, and so it's an easy decision for Jamar Smith. He's got one-on-one with Jay Sternberger, the tight end, and he's going to take it, and it's an easy completion. Sternberger finally got loose last week. 4 catches, 74 yards, and a touchdown. He had been quiet really this year before last week, but he's a great weapon for them, in particular in the middle of the field. And that is a terrific 3rd down conversion right there. And a nice, easy throw for Jamar Smith against man coverage on 3rd.
And the first 3rd down conversion for either team today. A zone read concept again in person. Gets it to the 41 before being pushed back.
Okay, here we go. Nice job, nice job. Here we go. Let's go Lion. Here we go. Let's go Lion. Let's go Lion. Lucky, Peyton even. Lion, Lucky, Peyton even.
Lion, Lucky, Peyton even. I want ready. Peyton.
2nd down and 5. Marlon Williams is checked in. He's back there in the backfield with Maribel. And they go with CJ, and he's going to be a couple of yards shy of the 1st down.
Don't take it. Here we go. 3rd and 3. What do you like? Here we go. Let's go. Here we go. Let's go, Lou. Here we go. Let's go, Lion. Lion jump. Bronco Reed, 19. Lion jump. Bronco Reed, 19.
Lion jump. Lion jump. Bronco Reed.
It's more like 2 than it is 3. Inside pressure forced that one to come out soon. They may get bailed out by the flag. Marlon Williams, the intended receiver.
Illegal use of hands. Pass to the face from the 24 of the defense. 5-yard penalty with an automatic 1st down.
Miles Jones, the culprit, 24.
Well, we saw 3 penalties go against Birmingham's defense on that scoring drive for St. Louis, and here the hands just go up to the face, and that's not going to make Anthony Beck very happy because, again, his quarterback, he challenged that face mask, clearly hands to the face, but as a runner, you don't get those types of protections like you do right there in just a normal hands to the face issue. Jones is called for it, and it's a 1st down for Birmingham, and now Skip doesn't have to make that 4th down decision. They had stopped him and forced Skip into an opportunity where he either had to go for another field goal or go for it on 4th.
Well, his defense gave St. Louis a few extra opportunities. And now the opposition doing much the same. Maribel gets it ahead inside the 30. Tyler Ball, the tackle.
Okay, here we go. Here we go. Let's go Rock. Here we go. Let's go Rock. Ham. Rock Ham. Let's go Hoosier Odd. Wave Shark. Rock Ham. Hoosier Odd. Wave Shark.
Wave Shark. I want ready. I'm the wave. Yeah.
Duggan looks on. His team now with the lead. Boy, that was a run stopper, huh? Feeney comes up to help that defensive forward wall. No one fooled by that call.
All right, here we go. Here we go. Be smart with it. Here we go. Let's go Big Ram. Let's go Big Ram. Let's go Puma, 44, hog out, pizza. Big Ram, just hog out. Big Ram. Big Ram, Puma, 44, hog out. Big Ram, Puma, 44, hog out.
That's that old saying, Joel, sometimes a call, even if it doesn't work, is setting up another call, right?
it could, although here on 3rd and 9, you know, they got to get a lot of this, or else we're just looking at a field goal opportunity.
Pressure. Oh, nice maneuver. And they find the tight end Sternberger again. And I got to tell you, I'm surprised that guy's not on an NFL roster. He was a consensus All-America at Texas A&M, Jay Sternberger.
Well, here's Sternberger, and watch, he's going to first chip on Taumuapinu. And that's a great, not a great chip, but it's just enough that gets Jamar loose, and then he becomes just a check down, and he gets himself loose. But what I love about him is he understands as a check down that he can work away from the defender, and he gets himself some space to work and gets a first down.
In the red zone at the 16. Kane. Well, Dion scooped that one up. He did catch it before it got to the ground. It was almost a short hop. This is a very nice play on Kane's part.
You were talking about baseball earlier.
Yeah.
This has me reminiscent to like the short hops at first base. Did he catch that? I thought that there was a little of that black.
As an old first baseman, I will tell you, I think he short hopped.
I think he did.
Yeah.
Yeah, that ball definitely.
The nose of it, I thought.
Put 25 on the
did a great job. And listen, I give the receiver a lot of credit, but I think the cone of the ball may have touched.
Well, part of baseball is just the deke. You know, it's just like make it seem like you caught it.
My coaches used to say, Tim, if there's some dirt down there, pick it up, will you? Get the dirt to come up with your mitt. 2nd and 10. Swings it back out, and this one is low. Falls incomplete. Back to Skipper.
Was rain there? Was rain there? Was rain there? Here we go. 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 Let's go. Here we go. Rose, ZN. Let's go. Rose, ZN, Florida, 48 flop. Rose, ZN, Florida, 48 flop.
I counted 6 here we goes on that one.
Yeah, that's about right. You know, the bigger the play, you get into that 5, 6, 7, 8 sometimes. If you get an 8, here we go, then you know it's a good one.
3rd and 10 up against the play clock. Just got it off in time. Pressure again. He's in all kinds of trouble. Really fortunate to get it back as far as he did. Chris Garrett, 48, on top of him. The pressure from Domopenu.
Well, this is a terrific stunt by St. Louis. Watch right here. You're going to get the inside move, and that's basically a block. Why? So you can get Domopenu right up the gut right here, and he's able to get right by the center, Cole Schneider. And that was some Houdini stuff by Jamar just to get away from Taumuapenu. Right over the top. Look at him, and he keeps himself up to get some positive yards. But Mevis back onto the field for another field goal opportunity.
Harrison Mevis has, as we mentioned, been money. Only missing the one. The kid from Mizzou who kicked a 61-yarder to beat Kansas State early in the season, which catapulted the Missouri Tigers to a 10-win season and a bowl win over Ohio State that year. That young man doesn't have to buy a libation in Columbia, Missouri. Today's game is sponsored by T-Mobile, America's largest 5G network, and by Liberty Mutual Insurance. Only pay for what you need. A reminder, the fastest drivers in the world set the field for the greatest spectacle in racing with the Indianapolis 500 qualifications right here on Fox. And speaking of getting on the track and racing to an MVP, how about this? These two guys, all right, Jordan Ta'amu and Bryce Perkins going back and forth. Ta'amu leads the league in passing and passing touchdowns. Perkins, who's not playing today, leading the league in yards per attempt and rushing touchdowns. Head-to-head, though, Perkins and the Panthers dominated DC in Week 6. But, boy, oh boy, stars are made in what has become, I think, football's #1 developmental league, the UFL.
Well, these guys have played so well, and what I just love about this league is the opportunity that it presents to the players as a former player, and then as a fan of the sport. And trust me, I love this sport. My dad was a football coach. I've been around it my whole life. I absolutely love it. Listening to coaches coach their players and call the plays is an innovation that I can't get enough of, and I know that if you're watching right now, you're in the same boat.
Gary Jennings with this return. He gets it out to the 35-yard line. And Duggan has had his way of late. He's got them on their heels a bit.
Yeah, well, look, you got two safeties back, and the linebackers here are totally spread out. Why? Empty set, so what does Duggan do? He just takes it right up the middle. So then they use another formation. They bring those running backs back in, but guess what? You've got two safeties still back. Now the linebackers are in. Duggan around the outside. The problem right now for Birmingham is that they are consistently putting two safeties back. That means that if Duggan wants to run, he can do that because St. Louis has the run numbers, the run ratios up front. I expect Birmingham to start going to a single safety look and dropping a safety down to stop the run.
That time on that read, Duggan decided to keep it. Jarvion Howard was in the backfield.
And you see that adjustment on that first snap right here. So watch, they just changed this defensive set a little bit. So you've got a safety here and a safety here, but this safety is coming down. This one's going over to the middle of the field. So you get that rotation now at the snap to try to bring an extra hat down to stop the run of St. Louis, and more specifically their quarterback, Max Duggan. Keep an eye on these safeties.
Jarvion Howard, nothing doing this time. And here's Corey Chamberlain with the play call upstairs, or on the sidelines, I beg your pardon.
Here, pressure. Where they going? Are they 12? Where they going? NASCAR, 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 NASCAR. Train Pirate, backer 1. Train Pirate, press backer 1. Train Pirate, press backer 1.
Okay, so this is press coverage, cover 1. Cover 1 is a man coverage. You'll have a single safety back. Pirate is going to be a stunt or a blitz up front. So they're going to bring a 5th or 6th rusher right here, but you're going to get man coverage all over on the outside. You got man-to-man here. You got man-to-man here. You got one safety in the back end, and there's the pressure.
Too much of it, and Duggan goes down. Perrion Winfrey, a huge addition to this team in that front four out of Oklahoma with the tackle.
Well, this is that stunt I was talking about. So when you get stunting, you got guys going this way, and then you're going to loop around and come right there, and it's a way to disrupt the rush lanes and get to the quarterback, yes, but also it prevents the scramble. Rather than just sending guys right up the field and opening up those rush lanes for a running quarterback to get through them, you can stunt, and it takes away those scramble lanes from a quarterback like Max Duggan.
Hofrichter will boot it away. Taken by Davis. And he is stopped in his tracks, maybe about a yard, if that. On the coverage, Miles Jones, 24, makes the play. 46 yards the boot on the Mississippi in St. Louis.
Jamar! Flat is wide open. The flat, hey, all I'm trying to do is not go backwards. The left flat's wide open. Give him the ball, let's punt it from up here. Jamar, I'm just saying, son, if you can't throw a screen, you can't play. I'm not trying to be difficult here, but those are big plays for us. You know what I mean?
So I know you've been married to Sarah for 20 years now, right?
That's right. Just
happy anniversary on that. Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Doesn't that remind you a little bit of marriage?
I mean,
that entire conversation?
You, Skip can be way more honest than we can. I mean, Sarah could probably throw a screen pass.
Yeah, she can.
But I certainly couldn't tell her. I couldn't be like, babe, if we can't throw a screen pass, that would be like fighting words right there. And Jamar and Skip, you know, it's like they're on their 25th anniversary.
Maribel, the setback. He has to make an adjustment behind the line of scrimmage, gets it back to the line of scrimmage.
9th year together, Tim. 9th year. So this is their 9th year together. In football years, that's like 45 married years.
Without a doubt.
No, I know, we're not.
They're not going to snap it here, so we're going to run it down to the 2-minute warning here. And tell you what, that's great audio. And he sunned him. Like, listen, if you're a player out there and a coach gives you a sun,
oh yeah,
I mean, your ears better perk up.
Usually when I heard sun, it was, Brando, that's the worst I've ever seen, son.
I've been there.
Baseball coaches can be brutal.
Oh,
brutal.
Hey, don't yell. I'm asking a question. This is the first time I heard you.
Since we've been talking about the days of our lives between these two, Jamar and Skip, they go way back. At Louisiana Tech, where Smith started 38 games, Conference USA Offensive Player of the Year in 2019. He got suspended for a game, Joel, that season. They lost it. That's the reason they did not win the conference title that year. But they strung together 8 straight bowls and 7 of them victories. And you think about what they've done since 22 together, it is one of those marriages that really makes sense.
Yeah.
And they'll be talking about one another for the rest of their lives.
Yeah. It's interesting, you know, Jamar didn't know if he wanted to be back and wasn't with Birmingham at the beginning of the year. And it took a call from his boss, you know, his father figure in football, to get him back this year just a few weeks ago. And here he is, finds himself on the field, drives him down the field last week for a win.
After the Marcus Bowell catch, let's go to Jim.
Well, I think Joel brings up a great point just about Jamar and the journey he's been on to get back with this team, and he's been pretty open about the fact that he was dealing with some mental health. He wanted to get his mind right. Guys, he was working at a Dunkin' Donuts just last month. He said he was working there in the morning because he could train in the afternoon. He said, I still had more to give. The tank wasn't empty.
Yeah, there's a little quick pass out to Davion Davis. In the tunnel of the Birmingham Jefferson Civic Center, he was working out with his old training coach, his strength and conditioning guy.
Here we go. Let's go, Lou. Here we go. Let's go, Lou. Lou. Let's go, Atlanta. 25. Just go, Atlanta. 23 smash. Lou, Atlanta. 23 smash.
Well, after 2 straight 10-yard gains and first downs, here we go again with 90 seconds left in the half. From the 40. Out of the shotgun, overthrows this time his intended receiver, Marcus Bowell.
No, listen to me. I called Lou. I'm trying to put the H to the boundary. I called Lou. Come on now, little things matter. Here we go. Let's go. Here we go. Let's go. Lou Hack. Lou Hack, Apollo Odd. Lou Hack, Apollo Odd. We're on the ball if we don't make it. We can't hear you.
Pass in between a couple of defenders. Jalen Camp, the intended receiver. Third and 10.
Over here. Take this slant. It's quarters. That guy ran. He was gone. You got it. Here we go. Third down. Here we go. Let's go big lion.
Call the play rather than coach him up.
Big lion. Let's go Puma. 55 hot. Big lion. Puma. 55 hot.
Rocco Beck is really proud of the fan support that he's gotten this year, urging them on, playing the role of maestro here. Pressure again. Look at him get out of that kind of trouble, Joel. That's amazing to have been away from the game that long and still have those kinds of instincts. Free safety Cameron Kelly comes up to make the stop. It will be 4th and 6, however. And a timeout by the Battlehawks.
Yeah, a good timeout there, making sure to save some of this clock. Minute 13 now, and Anthony Beck is going to get his offense back on the field. They'll have 1 timeout left and a chance to put some more points on the board.
Well, coming up on the Progressive Halftime Show, we'll have some analysis from the one and only Joel Klatt. Look in on Michigan and Houston. That game taking place on Fox and other areas of the country, and we'll take you inside the locker rooms. And trust me, you hear more from Skip because he's calling the plays, but Anthony Beck is a great listen to, so much so that he was a broadcaster both on television and for years with the Jets, who of course drafted him out of college. Played for the great Don Nalen at West Virginia. Mark Bolger, Amos Zaraway were on those teams in the late 90s to 2000. Wadman will punt it away. Pearson from the 15. Great coverage again by Birmingham. 39-yard boot. and a 4-yard return. A.J. Thomas the tackle, and we've not heard yet from Hakeem Butler, an outstanding wide receiver.
Well, you think about what he meant to this team last year, and you know, he's the offensive player of the year for a reason, and 652 yards. And this season, it just hasn't materialized. He's only been out there for 4 weeks. He's only got 4 catches. Now, 3 of them went for touchdowns, but you can start to see the frustration. And part of this is he had A.J. McCarron last year, who was a pocket passer, a prototypical passing quarterback. This year, he hasn't had that. You know, he's had Manny Wilkins and Max Duggan, and it's more of a run threat at quarterback, and so the outside passing game just hasn't been there.
Pressure again, and he's flushed. And Duggan ushers himself out of bounds after a negligible gain. Butler was ill last week, preparatory to the Battlehawks win at Memphis. He only had the 1 catch, but he did not get as much time to prepare for the game. But you look at this wide receiving core, not just Butler, but Darby, Pearson, Jennings. These are really good wide receivers, and I know in talking with Max, he would love to get to know them better and establish some rapport. But he, too, is still, as they say, getting accustomed to having them as teammates. Over the middle and right on cue, Blake Jackson, that other wide receiver. And the former D3 quarterback, who has a touchdown pass himself this year, has a first down.
I tell you, the time that Duggan got in the pocket was what made this play. He was able to pump, and then finally he finds his man across the middle. It was a really good route by Jackson, who comes across, and Blake Jackson with a huge completion there, kind of gets them outside of their own red zone, if you will, backed up, and now they've got a real opportunity for some points. Remember, Rodrigo Blankenship, their kicker, along of 56 against DC this year.
Second longest play of the day. Oh, this one gets away from Duggan, and he has to cover it up. So a huge loss on 1st and 10.
Yeah, that snap just way over to Duggan's right, and he couldn't bring that one in. Sailors was also over there. Watch as Duggan tried to go up and catch this, and then there was going to be a little bit of a play fake, and Sailor's left arm was up there and touched the football as Duggan tried to catch it. So confluence of errors there, and that's going to lead to a timeout and a long yardage situation.
Mike Panashuk is the converted defensive player. It's now the offensive center for this team. And a reminder that tonight it is baseball night in America, as Matt Olson and the Braves take on Alex Bregman and the Red Sox. So the Twins battle the Brewers. Check local listings for the game in your area tonight at 7 Eastern here on Fox.
These 2-minute situations are so vital, and you've got to execute. You can't take negative plays. You got to know what stops the clock. And this one, with a timeout left, you know, in a long yardage situation, you can work the middle of the field, but probably would have to take a timeout.
And he does find Hakeem Butler that time.
Oh, that's a killer right there. Now you got to take a timeout.
Yeah.
He wasn't able to get out of bounds. Negligible gains just don't do anything for you.
An incompletion would have been better.
100%.
Yeah. And a quick timeout by Birmingham now.
First timeout of the half. Birmingham. Please reset the play clock.
That old saying, Joel, about you got to make your layups, and you have to make those decisions at times. The easy passes, you got to convert them. I think that's been sort of the negative book on Duggan, that in the passing game sometimes he misses the layups.
Yeah.
And once he can corral that part of his game, you know, he still has a chance. He wants to compete and have an opportunity. He loved his opportunity with the Chargers. It didn't work out. This offense is run similar to what the Rams do, the Chargers do. That's why Anthony Beck wanted him.
He's got the competitive spirit. There's no doubt. And you're right. You know, like, as a quarterback, to go to the next level, you can't make easy look hard.
Yeah.
And, you know, there are guys with an immense amount of talent that make hard look easy, but make easy look hard. And that's got to be the other way around. And like you said, kind of take your layups. But at this point, it's really about field goal range and not trying to get the first down per se. He can get this ball to about the 40-yard line on the opposite side, and they can probably attempt a field goal from there.
Yeah, you've got an NFL kicker waiting in the wings. This pass is caught by Darby.
There you go.
And you're in field goal range. And this is a guy that can kick it from anywhere.
Hey, field
Yeah.
It's 4th down, so you can't spike it. He's got to run his field goal unit on the field.
73 and 75.
Blankenship, 56 is his longest. He hasn't missed. 58 yards this try.
Oh!
The iron unkind. I guess we jinxed him. He had been perfect, correct?
He had been perfect.
You knew there would be a doink with me, didn't you?
Well, you knew it. There's no doubt about it. I tell you, long of 56, this one from 58, and just short. What great execution. They get the yardage that they think they need. They run the field goal unit on without a timeout, can't spike the ball, and just short.
By the way, I saw you last week. You paid homage, and
I did, and I gave credit. I did give credit.
There was a guy I once worked with that might have said.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
So it is 13-12, Battlehawks by 1, and let's go to Jenny Taft.
Well, Coach, I know I wanted to ask you about a more positive outcome there. So just your reaction to the way the half ended for you guys.
We're in the lead. That's real positive, right? We had a nice situation there to kick a field goal. Rod's been awesome. We're a couple inches there, but it's a good half. We got to clean up some penalties. We got to be smarter technically. Right now, technically, we're not a real smart football team. We'll correct that. We'll get on them in that. We've had some opportunities on offense. Defense has really picked it up here. It's got us back in the game. We made some plays. So, again, we just got to win the second half. We're up by 1. That's where we want to be. And let's come out and be ready to go in the second half.
Duggan obviously getting it done on the ground with his legs. How do you get more playmakers involved with your offense?
Yeah, I mean, listen, we're going to play to the strengths of where we're at in the situations that we have. It's a nice play to Blake across the middle. That's a confidence builder for Max. So, again, he's got it. We got to hold up a little bit firmer in some situations. And when guys get their chance to make a catch, we got to make it.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks, Jen.
He is right, Anthony Becht is, because Max Duggan is so good throwing the ball inside the seams. And it's time now for today's big move, brought to you by Pods. And that pump fake was a beauty. And it led to the touchdown catch by Deion Kane. And right away, you knew this battle of the bigs in the XFL and USFL conferences was going to be dynamite. Through one half, only 1 point separates them. Much more to come. And our Progressive Halftime Show is next. Stay right where you are. The scene inside the Battlehawks locker room as we welcome you back to St. Louis. Today's UFL Halftime is sponsored by Progressive. Our score 13-12, St. Louis with the lead. Time to take a look at some highlights from the game going on that others are seeing. Fox Network, Michigan, without their starter, but getting excellent work from Danny Etling and Xavier Malone. My goodness. Tremendous work on this return. The Panthers go up by a score of 14-3 after this quick little maneuver. Samson Nakua takes it in for a 1-yard score. And then the Panthers up 14-3. In the second, the Roughnecks down 14-3. McClendon goes deep. Kiki Chisholm on the receiving end. He lays out for the 33-yard score. And the Roughnecks trail 14-12 right now. As you look at the playoff picture, Roughnecks still alive, but if they lose, Birmingham is in regardless of what happens. And if you see the situation with the Defenders taking on the Battlehawks for the top spot in the XFL, Arlington remains in the hunt. Those are your teams that are vying for the postseason of what has been a magnificent merger to form what is the UFL. More halftime activities with Joel coming up.
Today's UFL on Fox Halftime is presented by Progressive. Birmingham in the locker as Skip and Jamar talk over the film. They are down 1, 13-12 here in St. Louis. The Battlehawks and their quarterback, Max Duggan, have been playing very well. Well, early it was Birmingham that came out and they struck a long touchdown, 65-yarder down the right sideline to Deion Kane. Anthony Becht Couldn't believe it. Jamar starting out hot for the Stallions. They were up 6-0. Then it was the Max Duggan show. This right up the middle, 13-yard touchdown. He ran for 2 touchdowns in that first half. Duggan was doing it with his legs, and that led St. Louis to this 13-9 lead. First from 13, then 12 yards. Great extension right there. Gets just inside the pylon, knocks it over for the score. And that's where we find ourselves now in this 13-12 ball game. Pretty evenly played. Birmingham, again, with that 65-yard touchdown pass, they're going to look like they've got the advantage in the total yards, 152 to 115. But ever since then, it has been pretty evenly played. Both quarterbacks trying to get their feet wet. There's some room on the ground. The ground game for St. Louis has been pretty good. Sailors and Duggan doing the damage. When we come back, St. Louis will have the ball. Here at home, under the arches, up by 1, 13-12. St. Louis looking for a playoff spot.
The old movie, Meet Me in St. Louis. That's where the UFL focus is today as we get ready to start the third quarter. Tim Brando, Joel Klatt, Jenny Taft on hand. And Joel, listen, we've talked a lot about Max Duggan. There's a unique factor in his throw that I know you want to analyze.
Yeah, you know, that throwing motion, it is just so elongated. That ball drops way below his hip. You know, at the lowest point with most deliveries, that ball would maybe get to the hip, but this one goes all the way down below, and he has come up short on a couple of throws today, and I think that, honestly, Tim, is kind of the main culprit. You look at the quarterback comparison here today, Jamar and Max looks fairly similar. Max has had a couple of opportunities on that first series. I'll just remind you, he had Ja'Cour Pearson wide open right down the middle of the field, but it was underthrown. And so that ball was batted away. That could have been a big touchdown early, or at least a huge play early. But what he doesn't get in the passing game, he makes up for in 2 areas: his competitive toughness and spirit, and his ability to run the football.
Yeah.
And we've seen both of those things come through in spades today here in the first half, which is the reason St. Louis has their 1-point lead.
Anthony Beck did point out, as you see, Jenny Taft is ready for us, I think, down on the sidelines as Max makes his way out. Here's what's at stake once again in this matchup, and it is huge today. Okay, in terms of putting together the postseason picture. A Birmingham win or a Houston loss, they're in. They are in. And Michigan is winning that game right now. So St. Louis needs a win and an Arlington loss. And so both teams need a little help. And I know it's cliche, but both of them sort of control their destiny. And let's go to Jenny Taft right now. Jenny?
Well, Coach, obviously this is quite the ball game we've got. What was addressed at the break? What was the highlight for you? What you talked to the guys about? What you want to see in the second?
Yeah, it is a heck of a game. You know, it's a heavyweight fight. We knew it would be this. We got 2 good football teams battling out, and how blessed are we to have the opportunity to be here and experience it, you know? We just talked about defensively. Then we're playing our tails off. Gave up a couple quarterback runs, but playing our tails off on defense, doing a really good job. We had our back put up against the wall on the 1 and spotted them 7. And offensively, we just got to pick the ball up and throw it to first base, literally. You know, throw a bubble, throw a screen, take the underneath coverage instead of looking down the field. It's all part of, you know, to be fair to Jamar and not being here, but just like we've been talking about all week, we're just trying to make first downs. We'll have our opportunities to take a deep shot like we did early in the game with what they were doing, but we've just got to be able to execute at the quarterback position to be able to get something going. They're going to make some plays. We've had some good runs. We've had some no-gain runs, but, you know, we're not giving up on the running game. We just got to keep playing. It's going to be a heck of a second half. Everybody enjoy it.
He's got to go. He's got to go. Thanks, Coach.
Well, it's either here we go or he's got to go. It's one or the other, Jen. And Joel, I think in both cases, with both Anthony Beck and with Skip Holtz, it's like we still have to live in the moment. And right now, we gotta dance with what brung us. And right now, it's Duggan's running capability, and it's Jamar's experience. And both coaches are going to take the good, the bad, and the ugly of both of those guys as leaders of their team. Blake Jackson's return gets it out to about the 20. There you see the offensive leaders, and it's no surprise that Duggan has the most yardage on the ground. And that notwithstanding, Sailors is arguably the best running back in the league. Blake Jackson has been very effective, too, as a receiver for St. Louis.
I'm interested to see the adjustment from Birmingham. You know, what they do. I was talking about it a little bit there at the end of the half. You get outside of this 2-minute situation, and what are we going to do? And you automatically see there's only one safety back, so now more players at the line of scrimmage for Birmingham already on this first snap than they had really the entire first half.
That ball is knocked down right at the line of scrimmage.
And what the adjustment is basically you're going to dare St. Louis to throw the football. You're going to be in man coverage a lot on the outside, or at least single high, where you're saying if you're going to move the ball, you're going to have to throw it, because just running the ball is going to be tough against what I would consider to be what I would call a loaded box. You see these safeties rock. So we've got a safety down right here and only one back in the middle.
Out of the shotgun and empty. Duggan with all kinds of time to Sailors out of the backfield. And step for step, the linebacker was with him, DeMarquise Gates with the tackle. And let's go back down to Jenny.
Well, just a quick injury update for Birmingham. One of their defensive leaders, defensive end, Bradley Anai, is done for the day. I know you guys had noticed he hadn't been that active in that first half, but he is out with a left groin injury. He's in a sweatshirt on the sideline doing his best to coach his guys up.
So this is a guy that broke all kinds of records in sacks at Utah. Career record of 30. And this pass is intercepted. Just a mix-up, and A.J. Thomas has the pilfer. So a huge turnover to start the second half. Had to be some kind of mix-up as Duggan throws his 4th INT in 4 games. A little wobbly, but a great start for Skip and company.
That was today's game flow, brought to you by Progressive. You take a look at this last snap, and you've got Myjai Sanders right here coming around the edge, and he definitely gets a little piece of Max Duggan's arm. And again, that delivery that we just touched on coming back from halftime, the a long drop-down delivery comes back to hurt Max Duggan. There was the tip, and you can see Myjai Sanders as he comes out. He starts pointing. He knows he got a piece of it. And A.J. Thomas, the beneficiary of that one, as tips and overthrows. Tim, I told you earlier, they wind up in the hands of the defense, and it happens again there.
Now, Myjai's another one of those new defensive ends from a year ago. They had to replace him and have done so beautifully, as Davion Davis is on the receiving end of this first down pass.
And think about it, we just touched on, Jenny told us Bradley and I out right now with that growing. You've got Ronnie Perkins, who went on the IR, who is another one of their great defensive ends. And so Myjai Sanders stepping up in that absence of the pass rushers that have been so dominant for the course of this season, and getting an impactful play there and getting the hand of the quarterback, Max Duggan.
Well, down by 1 beats 25-6, which is what they were this time a week ago. Little look-in pattern. It is caught, and there is Deon Cain again. Touchdown, Birmingham.
Well, if you want a big play, guess where you're looking? Deon Cain. Now, this one just happens to be a slant, but Tim, what do we hear from Skip all the time? Take the easy ones, take the slant. Right here, he just takes the slant, and it looked like Cain was almost surprised that that ball was there. The hands go up quickly, and that's his 4th touchdown so far this year of 50 or more yards. You could tell those hands, he was a bit surprised the ball was on him. Because of that pressure, Jamar had to get rid of it quickly. And that's 2 today. 65 on the first series, 50 on that snap. Deon Cain, monster day, 2 tugs.
Gotta go for 2. You know, you're right. That's the kind of pass, too, that a lesser receiver would allow to climb on him. He got up there and went point to point with it and speared it. Just what you want to see from your receiver, right?
Absolutely. And again, huge plays. And Birmingham takes advantage. Get the turnover. Put it in the end zone. A.J. Thomas, Trey Norwood, they're loving what the defense is doing.
Today's game is sponsored by Allstate. You're in good hands. And by Jersey Mike Subs. Be a sub above. Two big catches by Deion Kane to spearhead this Stallions team.
That's a lot of TV time. I'm about to put my face in there.
He's earned it. He's earned it.
That old saying, shoot him some gleam, Deion, while you're on. Yeah.
That's it.
That's what the original Deion would have said. Hey, Tim Brando, how you likes me now? I'm shooting you some gleam.
Well, he's earned that gleam. I mean, think about what he's done today. And he's been a good player for a long time. We were just talking in the break. Great career at Clemson and showing out today.
Blake Jackson gets it up to the 28. We've got a flag on the field.
We're going to tack that on to the end of the
Francisco Villar is our referee.
illegal formation. Kicking team number 0. 5-yard penalty is added to the end of the play. 1st and 10.
Here's Jenny with the star of the moment.
Well, hey, it's all about getting this guy a little more FaceTime, right? Deion, what's gone into today? Your second touchdown, the connection between you and Jamar. How much confidence are you playing with right now?
Just giving all glory to God right now, man. Just really want to come out here and play hard for my teammates. Jamar giving me a chance to go out there and make plays. I couldn't do more, but just go out there and execute. Coach, believe in us, calling my number right now. I just want to make the most of it right now so we can come out with this win.
How impressed have you been with Jamar? Because I know that you guys really do go way back.
Now, we go way back since 23. So, I mean, me and Jamar always had a good connection. We used to always throw together after practice for these past 2 years, ever since he's been here. But, it's just out here playing ball. That's all we're really doing. Really, all our quarterbacks can have a chance to come out here and throw, once you're trying to make the plays for them. But at the end of the day, we're connecting. We're just trying to keep it going. We still got 2 more quarters to go ahead and finish.
Do it again. We'll chat again. Thanks.
See you later.
That was a great receiver at Clemson for Dabo Swinney. Sailors, who got there on the first carry, going to get to within a yard or 2. Trey Norwood making the stop. Joel, he tore his ACL in camp with the Colts after being drafted in the 6th round. I think that doesn't happen. I think he's probably in the big leagues.
Yeah, final preseason game that injury happened. I go back. He had that monster game against Alabama in the 2016 national championship. 5 catches for 94 yards, and here he's finally getting a chance to show out. Last week we were doing the Birmingham game, and Dabo Swinney was on the sideline.
Yeah, he was.
I'm sure he's at home watching right now and be happy about his former player.
Nice catch by Jake Sutherland. Yeah, Dabo and Skip are real close. Spend a lot of time together, and of course he loves to get back to Birmingham, where he's from.
C. Satter. Bunch right, F flat, Lincoln, C. Satter.
Here we go.
Phil McGagan, the offensive coordinator for Anthony Beck, with the call.
Well, they're having to adjust. That last series, I was telling you that Birmingham has changed their structure, and they've started to sink a safety down into the box. And you're seeing that again. A lot of single safety. That means it's hard to run the football.
Little bubble screen to Pearson. Negligible gain that time.
F. Lasso, toss, 19 Springer. Pistol, double left, F. Lasso, toss, 19 Springer.
Longtime wide receivers coach in the NFL at several locations. Dolphins, Chargers.
Double left, F. Lasso, toss, 19 Springer. Already.
Now getting a chance to run this offense of Anthony Beck's. 2nd and 9. Oh, Sailors cuts it up. That's some tough running right there.
We've seen that a couple of times today. That tough running, the physical running from Sailors. I really love his style. He does not shy away from contact. He is a tough runner, and he's decisive. He's patient until he decides on where that hole is, and then once he decides, he runs behind his pads, and he's heavier and more impactful than guys that are bigger than him. Again, only 5'10", 199, and yet he runs much bigger than that.
3rd down, a yard to go. Why not? And he pops it inside the 30 to the second level in a heartbeat. And he's all the way down to the 20 of the Stallions.
Well, this is a great play call because look at this. They're outmanned on this side. You've only got 3 defenders on this side, so you can block them all up. You got the center, the guard, and the tackle. You can block them all up. Terrific job by the left guard, Steven Gonzalez. Off of the double team, he was able to get back to the linebacker and get that block, and Sailors is sprung and really isn't touched until he gets to the 3rd level and to the safeties.
Gonzalez, 74, is the anchor of that offensive front out of Penn State. Howard struggling to get back to the line of scrimmage. Uh-oh, ball that may be out. Ball on the ground. Let's see. It looks like it may belong to Birmingham. Kiava Tazino on top of it.
Man, right when Sailors has to go out for a quick break because he had been running so hard, they give it to Howard, and he's trying to fight for extra yardage. And again, Birmingham, opportunistic, pulling at that football. It comes loose, and the Stallions, with their 2nd turnover of the half, they turned the 1st into a touchdown. Can they do the same here? We find out right ahead. Well, Birmingham continues to be opportunistic on defense, and Jarvion Howard comes into the ballgame, number 41, the running back for St. Louis. Tough run here. Hey, listen, you can't fault him for running tough, but watch 19. That's Daniel Isom. He's the one that contacts and then starts to rip at that football. It comes loose, and the Stallions are able to corral it. No pun intended right there. There's the rip of the football from Isom, and we've seen that several times. Remember, it was Mario Goodrich, the defensive back on the kickoff earlier in the game, that punched a ball out. There, Isom, he rips the football out. We've seen A.J. Thomas with a pick, and this defense getting 3 takeaways so far today and making life difficult on this St. Louis team. And again, Sailors had just left the game.
Really
Sailors
a tough break.
Had run the ball really well, Tim, on that series.
No one feels worse, too, than Jarvion. You know that. 1st and 10 from the 20. Looks like we got procedure.
He made contact? Encroachment.
Oh, they got an offsides.
Encroachment.
Encroachment.
56 of the defense. 5-yard penalty. Still 1st down.
So they tagged Travis Feeney for coming up and getting into the neutral zone. Look at these ranks during the course of the season. We talked about how close they are. And it's not, listen, they've each had their moments. They've given up some big plays. That happened to Birmingham a week ago. But, boy, shoring up your defense has a lot to do with your one-loss record.
Well, I've got to just be candidly impressed with Birmingham because their 2 really most impactful defenders are not playing right now.
Absolutely.
And Bradley and Ronnie Perkins. Perkins on IR and out, with a growing today, as Jenny told us earlier. And so, that defense continues to find a way, which I got to tell you, Tim, I've called this, this league in particular now in the 2nd year, as we've got a man down that looks like Armani Taylor Prelu, the tackle for Birmingham. But Skip Holtz, his team just always finds a way.
Yeah.
They are just so resilient. Guys go down, quarterback, defensive end, doesn't matter. Guys step up. Right. The continuity and confidence that man brings to his football team is the reason that they've won 3 straight spring championships.
While we're waiting on this injury, we're going to give you a live look in of what's taking place between Michigan and Houston.
Yeah, Michigan up 27-12 in the 3rd quarter. Houston trying to get down. They just run it for a 1st down right there.
They're smarting a little bit after that defeat, the way they lost that game last week. C.J. Johnson, their head coach, had done a really nice job. They had total control of that game. And then all of a sudden, it was almost like a golfer that knows he's about to have a great score, and then suddenly it begins to climb on him mentally.
Yeah.
And at that time, the magic was being pulled off by, guess who? Jamar Smith.
Yeah, Jamar Smith and the Stallions team again. And you got to credit the Stallions defense. They were terrific in that 2nd half. But you bring up C.J. Johnson. He's done a really nice job. We had their opener this year against this St. Louis team, and St. Louis ran all over them. And candidly, it wasn't really a close ball game. And C.J. has improved that Houston team dramatically during the course of the year. And a lot of that is McClendon, their now starter, that we just saw in the ball game. He's provided some confidence to that offense. They thought that they were going to get themselves back in that playoff race, and so losing that lead last week was a tough one for them. But again, it goes back to what I was just talking about with defensively for Birmingham. Birmingham finds a way.
Ricky Person in the backfield on first down. And look at that. He's just getting a lot of that on his own. Chris Payton-Jones, number 3, corrals him. But again, a quality pickup on first down. It'll be second and short.
I know this is basic, and I keep coming back to it, but when you see 2 safeties back, you can run the football. And this is what St. Louis was able to do early, and now Birmingham, what are they doing? They see those 2 safeties back. Skip sees that. Jamar sees that. Let's run the football. And if St. Louis is going to continue to play like that, I guarantee you Birmingham will oblige and get right back to that run game. So now they're going to rock down. Well, no, they're going to stay back. Look at that, running the football for a first down.
So he picks up the first down, still going. His legs just keep on churning it. Skip loves the physical nature of the North Carolina State star. 6 yards, and here he is.
All right, here we go. Good, good, good. Here we go. Let's go. Hey, let's go Leo. Let's go Leo. Flow, radar odd slant. Leo. Flow, radar odd slant.
Slant. Oh, ready?
That sounds like an RPO to me. You know, he can hand it off on the left side if he wants, depending on the look. He's got a couple of safeties back. It looks like they're going to rock down right here, and then we've got a slant on the backside.
Get it up now.
Camp was the intended receiver that time.
And again, a low throw. That's going to be frustrating for Skip because he feels like it's open. There is a St. Louis player down.
Yeah, that's Isaiah Mack, the nose tackle.
Timeout for
and for
a player on the defense. Timeout
Ken
on the field.
Malodin.
Please reset the play clock to 30
They'll
seconds.
check on him, and we'll be back.
Damn, bro.
Just over 7 minutes left here in the third quarter. The 3-time defending spring football champions, the Birmingham Stallions, trying to once again make their way into the postseason with a victory today. Tim Brando, Joel Klatt, Jenny Taft, happy to have you with us here on Fox. C.J. Marable in the backfield, and a delay to him, and he'll get it up to the 50-yard line.
Well, let's be aware of these slants. You know, Skip has been talking about slant passes the entire day and imploring Jamar to take them.
Let's go line jump. Let's go Gator. Let's go, here we go. Let's go Gator, 27 slot. Florida, 27 slot.
29 slot. One more, ready? Here we go.
Underneath, Williams, first down and then some. Inside the 40 to the 37, Mike Rose makes the tackle, the linebacker out of Iowa State.
Get one-on-one again here, so you got the coverage that you want, and this ball just thrown inside a little bit. I think Jamar actually gets away with this one. Inside hip, and it brought Marlon Williams back to the inside. Look, he's even telling him, he's like, throw it, get it out in front of him. But that actually worked out because Marlon was able to spin back and away from the defender and get the line to gain and move the chains.
Take the slant. That's what Skip's been telling him, and Jalen Camp is the beneficiary of that one.
Boy, they narrowly elude. Mike Rose was blitzing. There's Rose blitzing in there, and there's the slant on the outside, and he takes a little bit of a pop right there as that ball was thrown a little high. But again, they're trying to get that slant pass thrown. That one was a tight window, and they were able to complete it.
Gain of 11 and another first down. They are in rhythm right now.
Here. Watch out for this bubble screen out here.
And he's wrapped up. And it's Domopeno again. Peter Domopeno, who's been so active. Young man out of Utah. Comes up with big play after big play. He was XFL Defensive Player of the Year before the leagues merged. He is outstanding.
He really is, and they have been unable to really block him. They've got to be more aware of where number 7 is. He has been outstanding, as well as Travis Feeney on the other side.
I won't go LT on you, but I am going to go back to that era for a second. Andre Tippett.
Yeah.
Remember that name? Played for the Patriots?
I do. He's a guy that commands attention.
Absolutely. And there's that tough running again. Down to the 27. Here's Skipper.
Okay. All right, here we go. Here we go. Let's do this. Here we go. Let's go. Big Ram Nasty. Big Ram Nasty. Cougar 52 right pony. Big Ram Nasty. Cougar 52 right pony.
52 right pony. I want ready.
Sounds like a John Gruden call when you throw in a nasty.
That's exactly right. And the only thing that Jamar has got to pay attention to is just don't force the football. Do not turn over. You got to feel like you got points in your back pocket here.
3rd and 10. Smith stepping up, uses that stiff arm. Oh my, what a run. And that last extension is gonna get him very close.
Oh man.
Carson Wells, the tackle, might have saved the first down.
This is a time to go for it because you got within that 2 yards. You get inside of that 2 yards. You've got a running quarterback. I mean, remember, Jamar is about 220, maybe heavier.
96, 72, 97.
Yeah,
I think you may go for this because a field goal only makes it an 8-point game. It's still one possession, but if you can somehow extend this drive, you can see right there, so close, half yard maybe. I wish he would have gone for this.
Yeah.
One possession, what does this do for you? You could try to get a 2-possession lead.
Memphis instead will kick it through from 36 yards. I'm with you. By the way, Jamar's always been thick. But after the layoff and working at the donut shop for as long as he has, I mean, he's a little thicker now than maybe he was a couple of years back.
You know what I'm saying?
I wasn't going to go there, but, I don't disagree with you.
Maybe a Bavarian cream snuck in there from time to time at
you,
Duncan.
You've been talking about Peter Tamuapenu and how effective he has been. Anytime that these passing plays take any time whatsoever, Tamuapenu has been in the backfield.
We're just nickel and diming them and picking them apart a little bit. You know what?
I love the love that they're sharing with one another now. And there's Peter. What an outstanding talent he is.
He's just so explosive, and whether it's against the run or the pass, he has been effective. And you can see using his hands, you can try to chop him. He has been effective on the stunts there, looping back to the inside. Terrific hands right there to get to the quarterback and get a sack for himself. He has been dominant, and you look at what he has done this season, 7.5 sacks, that's first in the league. 2 forced fumbles, that's tied for first. Today he's got a sack and a fumble recovery. He's certainly in the running for the UFL Defensive Player of the Year.
Leads the league in sacks. If this keeps up for Jamar Smith, Joel, they might have to get a historical marker at that Dunkin' Donuts in Vestavia Hills, Alabama. Here's Blake Jackson right up the gut. He's a dynamo, isn't he? One of those receivers that you can use a variety of ways. Jet sweeps, kick returns. And as a former quarterback, he can let it go from time to time.
It's interesting Skip chose to keep it a 1-possession game. It's probably a nod to their defense, to be honest with you.
I think so.
Last week, second half shutout. Their defense so far in this second half has been terrific. 2 forced turnovers, Tim, and now this 8-point lead looks ever more daunting for St. Louis.
One thing that the Battlehawks have going for them is number 15 in blue. If not Duggan, Sailors will get you the yardage on the ground. Were it not for that unfortunate break when he needed to get a blow, given that, and Jarvion Howard then got stripped, this game could be much closer than it is right now, and it's still, as you mentioned, just a 1-possession game.
Averaging a little over 7 yards per carry. Sailors is right now when they hand it to him.
Look at that bounce out. Beautifully done by Sailors. Let's go to Jenny.
Well, all that work to get down there, I got to make sure I get some points. That was the short and sweet answer from Coach Holtz. Obviously, he was fired up, guys. He knows they're very much in this thing, but he couldn't take the chance of not getting some points. That was his answer.
Well, I think the answer that she gave is exactly what you were thinking, right? That he has to respect the opposition enough.
I just think of it in terms of possessions.
Yeah.
You know, and if you can put that lead and extend it out to a 2-possession ball game, you know, I think that makes the risk-reward profile. But, you know, if you're Skip, I understand that. And remember, it hasn't been easy. You know, Jamar has missed a couple of open guys, Tim, as we've heard him lament over the mic.
Yeah.
And so getting down there, I think that as a coach, and in particular an offensive play caller, he thought to himself, I am not going to allow this drive to go empty.
Part of that love he was sharing with Jamar, too, was because, you know, Jamar wanted to go.
Yeah.
Jamar really wanted to go, but he was like, hey, it's all good.
Yeah.
I got this. Howard in the backfield on 2nd and 7. Duggan. Boy, he's counting his money back there, and look out. Mad Max doing what Mad Max does, and very well.
Good coverage down the field. You know, I thought that there might have been a chance for him to get a couple of these throws, but doesn't pull the trigger. And I will tell you, they do a really good job of passing off those crossing routes deep. They're trying to run a post and a corner. Defensive backs do a nice job, but with all those eyes deep down the field covering those wide receivers, Duggan finds open area to run and move the chains.
9 carries, 50 yards for him. That was 12 on that one. Nothing doing for Howard as we come to the end of the first. I go back to when Sonny Dykes had Duggan, and he said, you know, if I get some good passes between the seams, I'm happy. But boy, oh boy, if it's a 1-possession game and my guy is Max Duggan, I don't care if I'm behind. I feel pretty good about it. Stay where you are. Your score by quarters. Birmingham and St. Louis neck and neck. As Skip Holtz said at halftime to Jenny Taft, the two heavyweights in a heavyweight bout. That's what we've had. As we open the fourth at 2nd and 9. Duggan. That was well read by the defense. What tremendous penetration. Giava Tizino with the pressure that time, the weak side linebacker coming through, but there was more of it from that defensive front as well.
Yeah, and what you see is anytime that they're able to get some looping going on or some stunts going on and then play man coverage, they're making it more difficult on Duggan. And right there, really tough to throw a screen to a man defender, because that defender has nowhere else to go, and Kavai Tizino was right there to bat it away.
Yeah, Carlos Davis, 96, all over that play too. That one thrown really at the feet of Frank Darby, incomplete.
You know, this is what I would say defensively. Birmingham has had the most success when they are aggressive. They're playing a single safety. They've got more players at the line of scrimmage, and then they're making life harder on Max Duggan, more tight window throws, and they do that on the last couple of snaps from Corey Chamblin and force the field goal opportunity.
Well, we put the dreaded jinx on Rodrigo Blankenship. He was 16 of 16. Now he's missed one field goal. That from 58 yards. This one is right through the uprights. 49 yards. Cupcake City for him. And it's a 21-16 game. So much on the line on this spring afternoon in St. Louis.
I got to trust you to be able to go bang, no, throw it over everybody's head. We're good. We're good. We're 2nd and 10. I run a draw. We're 3rd and 3. You know what I'm saying? We're good. Just we cannot go back. You cannot hold the ball. No matter what we do. I've been saying it for a week. You know what I mean? All week. I'm glad you're going to listen to me at the end of the 3rd quarter in a football game. That's good. I appreciate that.
You gotta love that.
That's incredible. That's incredible. Oh my goodness. Jamar has taken 4 sacks, and that's what is frustrating Skip Holtz at this point, trying to get that ball out of his hands. But I will tell you, I would normally say you cannot say that to a quarterback during the course of a game, but they know each other so well.
And it's how you say it.
Yeah, it's a great point.
That's how you say it. From the 1, Kane. And a flag down as Kane goes down at the 35. He wanted more than that, didn't he? He thought he had a seam. Here comes the call from Francisco Villar.
We're going to enforce that one from here. 10 yards. What did you have against Fred? I'm sorry. Block in the back. Hold. Freddie, block in the back. Hold. Turn your turn. Holding. 81 to the receiving team. 10-yard penalty. It's 1st and 10 for Birmingham.
Let's take a look at Jamar Smith's day, shall we? Because it started off with a bang. Beautiful pump to the left side, down the field to Deon Cain, who's been really the star on the outside today. This was the second one of 50 or more yards. It's just a little slant on the outside, but did a great job of going up and corralling that one. So Jamar getting better and better as he's gotten more reps. And remember, to be fair, he's making his first start in over 2 years. His last start, week 1 of the 2023 UFL season.
Maribel. Young man teaches middle school public school education, PE. He teaches PE at the middle school level with not toting the football. Chris Garrett, number 48, right outside linebacker making the stop, and we've got an injured Stallion. That's Christian DeLaro. 6'5", 300-pounder out of Illinois. He's down on the field. With a little time here, we'll give you a reminder that UFL Week 8 wraps up tomorrow with Arlington taking on DC at noon Eastern. Our friends over on ABC will have it for you. Then the UFL is back to kick off Week 9 as St. Louis takes on San Antonio on Fox. UFL Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern. Well, that game last night was wild.
Oh, wasn't it?
I mean,
had just about everything, including overtime.
Yeah. And oh, by the way, if you're the Showboats, you want overtime. Your only wins were in overtime.
Right.
And one of them against Birmingham.
That is a good point.
2nd down and 9 for Jamar Smith. Uh-oh, it's going the other way. Snared out of the air and returned by Callahan O'Reilly.
Down here in the bottom. All right, we just spotted him.
Exactly what Skip said not to do to Jamar. And to your point earlier, when he decided to take the field goal and not extend that drive, that's something else. You know, it's got to be dancing in Skip's mind to some extent. But you, as they say in the business, move on to the next one, right?
Well, can't do anything about that, right?
No.
I mean, you did what you did. You took the field goal, but this one right here, Callahan O'Reilly just stepped right in front of the inside slant. They were trying to get to Davion Davis, and O'Reilly read it perfectly. The eyes of the quarterback went right to Davis, and so did O'Reilly.
They're going for 2 and the lead. Pressure off the edge. Duggan's in trouble and down. Nice work by Sanders, 41.
Well, let's take a look at this interception by Callahan O'Reilly. I want you to take a look at the eyes of the quarterback, because once you get the motion right here and they're trying to throw this slant, now the eyes pop up. Watch O'Reilly. He slides over. Now he sees the eyes. He slide, ball right in his chest, and he takes it in for the touchdown. It's just keys. It's just fundamentals. It's a beautiful job right there. See how he just slide. Eyes of the quarterback will take you to the throw, and O'Reilly winds up in the end zone.
Well schooled, this young man, Callahan O'Reilly, out of Montana State, a prohibitive FCS power. They either win it all or they play in the finals and lose to North Dakota State. Those programs have produced, Joel, many professional players.
They sure have. And look at Anthony Beck, loving it. Talking about that's the drill. Again, those are just defense fundamentals. You know, O'Reilly doesn't have to put a cape on his back and be Superman to make that play. He just does what his coaches teach him to do. When there's motion, slide over a gap. If it's a pass, read the eyes of a quarterback. Drop to where he's looking, and lo and behold, there's the football.
Kane, once again on the return. He wants to take it the distance every time. Here's another look from up top.
Well, here's the drone behind the quarterback. You see his eyes went right the entire time, and then the drone needs to make a quick U-turn because we're going the other way for 6. And it's the pick 6 at home in front of the faithful. O'Reilly did a perfect job. I'll come back to that, Tim, because too many times in this sport, players think they need to do extra in order to be successful. That was just what he was taught. That's it. Nothing more. And it wound up being a great play.
We'll see how he responds. He being Smith. Hands it off to Ricky Person here. Uh-oh. Like the ball might have been loose, but he regathered. Willie Harvey with the stop. Again, a reminder, Birmingham wins or Houston loses, they're in. St. Louis needs to win and get help from Arlington.
Here we go.
Michigan is leading big against Houston right now. So the story for Birmingham is still good, even though they find themselves behind. And Ricky Person is also ailing. He's down to one knee.
Oh, that story is not good.
No,
with
not at all.
Person down. He has been tremendous for them. He's been their leading rusher this season. Let's hope that that hand is okay for his sake as we take a look at the playoff picture, Tim. And Houston does look like they're probably going to go down to Michigan. So regardless of this outcome, it looks like Birmingham is in. Now on this XFL side, though, you know, St. Louis, they're in a really good spot. And that DC game tomorrow, that's going to weigh heavily into whether St. Louis can clinch a spot here this week.
I think Anthony Beck knows, and he said it as much this week in the press. No other team has won 3 straight this year. We have.
Yep.
And if you can stay on a roll and get it to 4 in a row, you really do have control of your destiny. 2nd down and 8. Smith out of the shotgun, plenty of room. Green grass in front, and albeit artificial, he'll take it for the 1st down.
Well, I showed you this look, you know, for Max Duggan. You see, you know, all these guys spread apart, and what does that lead to? Wide open space over the middle of the field, and Jamar takes advantage, runs for a 1st down. And we've got a St. Louis player down.
92, Phil Hoskins, who's in for Pesafea, who's out of today's game, as is Falu. Timeout. 1-point game.
Alert, thank you, thank you. Alert, eyes up, a lot of
Today's game is sponsored by Hershey's Milk Chocolate with almonds. Have you had your Hershey's? And by Verizon. 22-21. As you look at Ricky Person along the sidelines, he is the tough yards guy.
We got Ram, Ohio 14 follow. Ready?
You expect Jamar to go quickly in this drive, Joel?
We had kind of heard Skip talk about going faster, getting a little tempo. I would suspect that might be coming if they get some success here on the next couple of snaps.
Maribel, little stretch play action. Towards the sidelines, run out by Chris Garrett.
Okay. All right, here we go. Let's go Rio. Let's go Rio. Let's go Rob. Let's go Rob jump, Bronco Reed 18. Rob jump, Bronco Reed. Hey, Rob jump, Bronco Reed 18. I want to throw slant fly. That's what I want to throw.
2nd down and 7. That time Skip had something in mind, decided to go in another direction. A little fade. Ooh, that looked to be Deion Kane's moment. I'm going to say that's caught. Yes, indeed. They're going to rule it a catch. Using that angular physique of his, got them both in.
Boy, that is an incredible catch because this ball is way out on the outside. There is the catch point, and did he get the 2nd foot? I don't think he did. I think that was just his left foot that was down. The right one was up when he secured the ball. Watch when his...
The ruling of a completed pass is being reviewed. Please reset the game clock to 11:14.
Was that right toe still on the ground at the point that he caught it? certainly didn't stay there long.
No, it didn't.
Back to it's going to be third down wherever we go to.
I think that this is coming back because it's not really secure until right there, and then the toe is up and never gets back down to the turf.
Auxiliary box didn't move.
Had a nice visit in the command center with Dean Blandino. And
that's the shot. When he gets firm control, which he has firm control now, the right foot is up. I've got a left foot down, but I have a right foot up. And then the right foot comes down. So, Frank, after review, we have an incomplete pass. He only got 1 foot down. So we're going to go back to the previous spot.
Yeah, that's a good call. That angle actually is proof of it right there.
After reviewing the play, the pass is incomplete. It'll be third down from the previous spot.
We have been, in the time that I've been here, Joel, which was 2014 to this point, treated to the work of Mike Pereira and Dean Blandino. And to see this league utilize them in such a manner, just beautiful.
Yeah.
I think the NFL could learn a lot, and I certainly think college football could learn a lot.
Well, not only just from the mechanics, but also from the transparency.
Absolutely.
Being able to listen in like this is incredible in this league. There's no doubt. Boy, big play here on third down. Anthony Beck, this defense, watch out for this pass rush. They've been great all day long.
The line to make the 45 of St. Louis. Got to get it out in a hurry. Incomplete. Good defensive work against Jalen Camp by Miles Sims, number 6, out of Georgia Tech.
You get an all-out pressure right here, and so you're going to get Willie Harvey, who's basically unblocked. Watch him right here. Now, you're also going to get pressure from this side, but here's Harvey that comes right up the middle of the field. And Jamar's got to let that ball go just a hair early, and it's out in front of the wide receiver, Jalen Camp, who can't corral it. And now Birmingham, down 1 in the 4th, has to punt it away.
They're going to take the penalty here.
Push him back. Push him back. Got penalty, still 4th down.
There's a level of patience that teams have, Joel, when they know how to win. And I think that's been most of the other coaches around the league would say, we feel good about winning, but that team over in Birmingham, they know they're going to win.
Yeah, and you know, I would put St. Louis in that as well.
Yeah, I think that's the other team that has challenged that. Absolutely. End over end, and a fair catch made by Jacour Pearson.
Well, this defense for Birmingham is going to be asked to bail them out here again. And, you know, the points in this second half really haven't been against the defense. There's the first turnover, then they were able to force a second turnover. All that led to points and this lead. And then the pick 6 is what allowed St. Louis to recapture that lead. They've been flying around and they've been aggressive. Now, when they're aggressive, they're having more success. You look at the second half points allowed. Last 5 games, 9. Today, 9, but that was partly a pick 6. This defense gets better as the game goes on, in large part due to their coordinator, Corey Chamlin, who does a great job of making adjustments. And he's made that adjustment here today and been more aggressive with more players at the line of scrimmage against Max Duggan.
And there goes Duggan off of a zone read look to Sailors. He carries it himself.
Is that 12 or 11? 11. Abe Chase, 1Q. Abe Chase, 1Q. Abe Chase, 1 hound. Hound it.
200 jet per 2 Exxon on turbo, right? Pitch.
2nd down and 5 coming up.
For man defense here, they're going to come down. You do have man defense across the board.
That's a rifle shot from Duggan right into the arms of Hakeem Butler.
Good job, Kim.
Finally, Hakeem Butler.
A touch.
On the tally sheet.
Yeah.
Only his 5th catch of the year. It just crazy how quiet he has been this year.
Left extend. 14, Willie Reed, Z-Smoke, don't worry.
You talk about teams in transition. Sometimes, as you mentioned, the difference in a drop-back quarterback versus one like Duggan is huge.
Yeah, you bet.
First down 10, ball at the 23 of St. Louis. Phil McGagan, the offensive coordinator for the Battlehawks, at work.
Z-Fly 18-1 to force pass Olivia. Double left, Z-Fly 18-1 to force pass Olivia.
Here we go. Double left, Z-Fly 18-1 to force pass Olivia, don't worry.
Max Duggan with a Skip Holtz impression. On 2nd and 10. Uh-oh, chicanery. And they go inside, little inside screen to Sutherland after Blake Jackson got it, fooled no one. Marvin Wilson was on top of it, 58 in white. Now a huge 3rd down coming up for the Birmingham defense.
Yeah, and an opportunity to establish a little bit of field position here. If they can force a punt, you know, they're likely to get this ball in decent, not great, but decent field position for that offense, which has struggled a little bit in the last couple of series.
Well, they just gave him a little eye candy with that last play call. Let's see what they come up with here. Sailors remains the setback. 11 personnel. Duggan lets it fly, streaking down the sideline. Jennings incomplete. Had to wait on that pass just a bit, and it enabled Mario Goodrich to get over there in coverage and break it up.
Well, because of the all-out blitz, Duggan was unable to really step into this, so he threw this a bit fading away. We've talked about that delivery again. It's been a lengthy delivery, and now a couple of times where that ball is just a bit short because they had the matchup. Jennings had the step, had the space, but the ball just underthrown and allows Goodrich to catch back up.
Hoffrichter will punt it away. And Davion Davis on the receiving end. Ooh, nice quick little dart there to get up to the 36-yard line. And we're going to take you now live to that Michigan-Houston game that others are watching on our Fox network around the country. And Michigan putting this one away with just seconds left and Houston on the doorstep. But this victory by Michigan will secure a playoff spot for Birmingham regardless of the outcome of our game.
Yeah, I know they're not worried about that right now. That'll come at a later time, you know, where Skip will celebrate another playoff berth for the Stallions team. Right now, he's thinking about this offense and how he can try to get some easy completions for his quarterback.
Swing it out to Maribel. Excuse me, Williams. Marlon Williams on the receiving end. 17 rather than 11. And a great first down play there.
Everything that Skip does, it's about trying to create 2nd and short, easier situations for his quarterback, staying out of long yardage situations.
Line Lucky, Texas E bubble.
Lucky, Texas even big bubble. Omar, ready? For you.
C.J. Marable remains the setback. From the 46. They set it up for Davion Davis. And Quintario Cole with the tackle, the strong safety, number 32.
Here we go. Let's go Lou. Lou free. Lou free. Let's go Florida. 26 trade. Lou free, Florida. 26 trade Yahtzee. Lou free, Florida. 26 trade Yahtzee.
26 trade Yahtzee. Omar, ready?
2nd down 7. Keep an eye on Sternberger here. They love to go to the tight end in these situations at times. He's flushed from the pocket. Jamar deciding to take it himself. And in front of Rose, he steps out of bounds.
Throw the Yahtzee. It's there. 3rd and what? Okay. Any thought? Any thought?
I think he may have been. I think Skip was maybe thinking about the tight end.
I think he was, but he was so frustrated with that play. Now he's late.
Yeah.
They're going to have to call a timeout here. I don't think that you can execute a play very well at 3rd and 4. Got to take a timeout. Yeah. See, he was so frustrated. As a play caller, you got to be on it right away, and particularly with the shorter play clock of this league.
Yahtzee? It's too deep. The linebacker's 8 yards inside of him. He's pivoting out. That guy's running with Dion down the sideline, and there's nobody in the left flat.
That's for tomorrow, Skip. You got to get to the next play.
I know, but what are you looking at? It's slop or Yahtzee. That's what we're trying to go to. They take it away. We're going to one-man game, and it's wide open, and we won't take it. We put ourselves in these longer yardage situations.
If I'm the quarterback, I look at him in the eye, and I say, what's the next play?
All right, thinking 0, right?
See, his frustration with the previous play led to that timeout. This is the only part of the thing that I would push back on Skip. I love his mentality. I love listening in.
What's that?
But you cannot be emotional about the previous snap.
That's a rare moment for him, really.
Well, we've seen it a couple of times now where he continues to try to coach, and that's fine. Coaching is for tomorrow. Go watch the film tomorrow and talk about Yahtzee, because it's 3rd and 4 in the 4th quarter, and you're down 1.
The moment he said, "and what," okay, to his offensive line coach upstairs, he was in trouble, had to call the timeout.
That's right.
From the moment he said
that's exactly right. This is the most important snap of the game. Who cares about Yahtzee? You got to be in the best formation. You got to be in your best personnel group. What has worked best today? This is the most important snap of the game.
The partisan crowd is aware of that too. 3rd down and 4. They go into a slot right, trips to the right side of the top of your screen. Going for it all. It is caught. It is Johnson. It is touchdown. 88. Cade Johnson. Birmingham. 47 yards. Hello, how do you do?
What a catch. What a catch. Partner, incredible call. I mean, that looked like it was underthrown, then it was perfectly thrown, then it's a one-hand catch. That is incredible. Smith has now completions, 4 touchdowns of 65, 50, and 47. 3 touchdown passes, all giant plays. Look at Johnson. Fins off the defender, one hand, tips it back to himself, stays in bounds, and he's into the end zone. Incredible play.
How many times do we say it too? Sometimes the coach wants the gimmies. He wants the Yahtzees. He wants the short, the quick slants. Get the ball out fast. But Jamar's like, oh, I got you from 65. I got you from 50. I got you from 47.
They'll go for 1 year.
They're going to go for 1.
I don't know why you wouldn't. Why wouldn't you go for 2 at least, or 3? You would definitely. I don't know. Why wouldn't you go for 2 here?
And to the corner they get the completion, and Deion Gaines got it. Make it a 28-22 game, but you raise a very good point.
You go for 1 so at least a touchdown doesn't beat you.
Correct.
Now they have to at least
score a touchdown.
Well,
and get an extra point.
That ties you. Now they have to convert in order to win. Now let's go back to the touchdown. We talk about these man-to-man situations, and Skip talks about them all the time. You get a one-on-one, take it. And on 3rd and 4, Jamar does it. Man. And that's a beautiful throw. His best throw probably of the day. I tell you what, that was incredible courage on 3rd and 4 to take that matchup, and then terrific execution by Cade Johnson. And there's another one of those guys from an FCS school, North Dakota State.
South Dakota State.
I got it at South Dakota State. This guy was a first-team FCS All-American.
Yeah.
And he
by the
made
way,
a show right there.
And by the way, his dad, Cade Johnson's dad, was an outstanding player for Dr. Tom at Nebraska.
That's exactly right.
This is what a great moment to get involved and have your first opportunity. He didn't play a week ago against Houston, Cade Johnson. So they just, again, find ways to win.
That was, I got to tell you, that was a wild sequence. And because, again, you know what saved Skip is that he had to call a timeout.
Yeah.
I don't think the original play call was very good.
Right.
Because it was emotional and rushed.
Yeah.
And so, because he was so worried about, the Yahtzee on second down.
Right.
And then he had to take a timeout, and he continued to talk about Yahtzee.
Gary Jennings with the return beyond the 35. And here's Jenny with more on Yahtzee.
All right, Jamar, it was silent in here with that touchdown. Can you please explain Yahtzee to me? Because we watched as your coach called the timeout, and then take me into the play.
Coach Ho's just coaching me really hard. That's what I like. Just dialing in on what we need to do to execute. I haven't been good with my feet, just rushing things right now. He's just trying to calm me down, get some simple plays in, and just get the ball going. And we've been doing a great job. Offensive line been doing a great job. Receivers and everybody been doing a great job. So we're just trying to back up our defense right now and get a turnover, go home right here with a W.
Thanks, Jamar.
As long as he gets it, right? Sailors to within a yard of the first down. So Jacob Sailors with a great first down run. Crowder with the tackle.
Well, now this Birmingham defense is going to be asked to do it again. And again, you know, the only second half points that they've given up from a touchdown perspective in the last few weeks were that pick six. So it wasn't even their issue, and they are more effective when they're aggressive. St. Louis has been very effective when they've been able to run the football with Jacob Sailors. He's been their most effective offensive weapon, 13 carries, 90 yards here today.
Yeah, he's been very effective, very quietly too. Duggan, that one is cradled, and it's Hakeem Butler. And 88, who we know is great, is pounding his chest saying, yeah, find me, right between the eights.
Well, finally, they're getting the ball to 88, and this time it's really just kind of a post-up on the outside. Goodrich has given up so much height. He's only 6 foot. You're looking at Hakeem Butler at 6'5". He's 220 pounds. That frame is just so big. The back shoulder type passes on the outside are really where he excels because of that big frame.
28-yard completion to the 28-yard line of Birmingham. And Sailors pops free. Inside the 10, near the 5. That's 23 yards. A.J. Thomas, the saving tackle.
Yeah, this is a great job by the offensive line. Watch, they're just going to flip around here, and then you're going to have the left guard that gets himself up to that second level, and the center, Mike Panashuk. He's able to get the middle linebacker, and Sailors again. He's so decisive when he finds that hole, then he's physical, running through tackles. Now 113 yards on the ground here today. He's been so effective.
How about this response, huh?
Right down the field.
Out of the shotgun with Sailors next to him. Sailors. They're not going to give it to him yet. I've not seen a signal as yet. And there's a flag down in the end zone. No score has been given, no touchdown signal, and there's a marker down in the end zone. So hold everything. Uh-oh, I'm hearing personal foul.
I think it was on Birmingham. Kavai Tazzino was mixed up with somebody.
We're going to put it at the 2 and go for 3.
He was short of the goal.
I think the referee thought he had scored.
So we're going to go from
this is a huge play here because, listen, if
half the distance is 1 to the half.
If they don't give him the touchdown, this penalty is just half the distance. Yep. It's like a 6-inch penalty. But if they do give him a touchdown, they can move the ball.
Personal foul. Defense, number 31. Penalty is half the distance to the goal, automatic first down. Number 31 is ejected from the remainder of the contest.
What makes it a bad play is Tazzino is ejected from the game.
So if he doesn't get in, then this penalty is you know, for more or less. There you can see, doesn't quite, you can't get the look of the ball behind Frank Darby, number 2. I don't know. I mean, to me, it looks like he's still up and possibly crosses.
Personal foul is at the bottom of your screen. Coming up.
Yeah, there's a punch right there, and they threw him out of the game. Yep. That was Kavai Tazzino. You can see the official on the top side of your screen. He was coming in with that ball short of the goal line. But again, the penalty only moves at half the distance. If he was in, they could go for 3 from the 2-yard line.
That's right.
So that's a huge point here with this penalty and when it happens and whether that ball was actually short of the goal line.
So it's 2nd down and goal. Touchdown. He walks in, Jacob Sailors. His 5th touchdown of the year. And the lead awaits at 28 all. You must convert. That's why Skip Holtz just went for one. He wanted to make sure that they would have to convert the point after to get the lead.
Do you go for the lead or do you go for 3 so that a field goal only ties you?
That's an interesting point, yeah. Looks like he's going to go for 1.
You know, 3 is just such a low probability in this league. It almost never happens. I believe there's only been 2 3-point conversions, maybe 3, and 2 of those were after a penalty. They'll go for 1 here and the lead.
Sailors, he's there, and the lead belongs to St. Louis.
What a drive from St. Louis. Sailors has been outstanding, 7.5 per carry. There he gets the conversion. They're able to put 1 on the board and go up. He's got 118 on the ground now. That offensive line has been tremendous. Sailors has been so good, tough, running the ball physically between the tackles. I loved his little jump cut on the touchdown. Watch his patience, even in the short yardage. He's going to the right, and then he sees the hole back to the left. Watch right here, a little jump cut, boom. And he just walks his way in as the defense over-pursued on that side. And then for the conversion, the point after, it's just toughness. And he runs through an arm tackle, puts the ball into the end zone for 1 point. St. Louis with the lead.
So, Jamar, it's on you again.
Boy, what a game we've had between these 2 heavyweights. Just as Skip Holtz was talking about, these 2 teams, 2 of the best teams in the UFL, and they have treated us to quite a game here today.
The moment I got the assignment, Joel, out of the blue, I thought, man, if it's St. Louis and Birmingham, this is going to be special. And it's been that and then some today.
Yeah, there's no doubt. There's no doubt. And now Skip is in that play sheet. And he knows that this offense for St. Louis has their rhythm. And so he doesn't want to give the ball back. And so he's thinking about trying to have some sort of a lengthy drive, 3 minutes, and trying to kick a field goal and escape with a win.
Deion Kane up to the 25-yard line. And here is our game summary. And it has been truly a remarkable game.
Yeah, it sure has.
Jamar for 251, 3 touchdowns, the noted pick 6, which certainly hurt. Sailors, think about it. It had been Duggan, it was the primary rusher a week ago in a struggle that they had in Memphis. Now all of a sudden Sailors has set sail, and Rocco Beck's life is better for it.
You don't have to go fast.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the thing is this can just be a normal series. Harrison Mevis has only missed 1 field goal all season. It was from 63. He hit a 61-yarder against Kansas State, like you mentioned earlier in his college career.
Birmingham has 2 timeouts. And as I mentioned, Rocco Beck, I thought to myself, yeah, he's the son of Anthony Beck, but Anthony's better for what Sailors has done as well.
Go get him. Here we go.
Here's Skipper.
All right, here we go. Here we go. Let's go Rob, Viking Reed. Okay, Rob, Viking Reed. 14, fade, fade, fade.
Stallions are already in the playoffs because of the big win of Michigan today over Houston. But what matters now is this W against the Battlehawks. They may have to play them again in the championship game in less than a month. Smith tucks it and takes it. Phil Huskins, who was injured a little earlier, back in the game. He gets the first down as we come to the 2-minute warning. We are set up for quite a finish, Joel. How much fun is this?
Oh, it's as good as it gets. 2 teams playing their best.
Don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. Two teams that consider themselves the best, the Stallions and the Battlehawks. One by way of the XFL, the other by the way of the USFL. But the reigning champions are in white, and they're down by 1 with 2 to play. Jamar Smith under duress, lets it go deep. Incomplete for Camp. There's the marker.
Well, there's no doubt that was early. Chris Payton-Jones, way early. He got out of position. Jamar taking the shot down the field.
15-yard penalty and automatic first down.
Looking for Jalen Camp, number 84. And you can tell he comes in and just pulls him down on the back as he's in the air. An easy call. Watch as before the ball arrives. See, he just pulls that helmet right there and turns him, impedes his ability to catch the football. Easy flag to throw. And now the Stallions are in business. Before that snap, they needed about 25, 30 yards. So now you're looking about, 10, 15 or more yards to get themselves into field goal range. And once they do, then it'll be on Anthony Beck to start having to use his timeouts. So a lot going on right now from a strategy perspective. How aggressive does Skip Holtz need to be or have to be or want to be? And then Anthony Beck, when does he start using his timeouts to try to retain some of that clock? And he's going to use one now.
Yeah, because of the injury he had to. That puts him a bit behind the 8 ball with only 2 remaining. You could see it on his face, Joel. And now after that penalty, the double whammy, you lose Payton-Jones, who was your corner on that play, the man for whom committed the foul.
Just hang out down here, Kyle. Hang out down here.
So that was tough on 2 fronts for Anthony. Ball will be at midfield. But plenty of time to work with it. In this case, if you're Birmingham, you definitely want to milk some clock.
You do, but you're not in field goal range. And even if you do pick up 10 or 15 yards, you're at the edge of field goal range. So you do need to be somewhat aggressive. To feel really comfortable about a field goal opportunity, you would need about 20 or 25 yards to feel very comfortable.
So the giddy up would be a mild trot for the moment in the Stallions' attack. That pass was a little wide for Camp on a curl that Jalen was running. Second down and 10 after the incompletion.
Here we go.
You heard him say 10 yards. We need 10 yards.
All right, here we go.
He needs to get back in that set and run quarterback draw.
Let's go Rio. Let's go Peyton Odd. Rio, Peyton Odd. Rio, Peyton Odd.
If he gets in one of those spread sets, Jamar would have the ability to run right down the middle of the field. The defense is spreading out as they spread out formationally.
Not much this time for a rookie person. He backs up by a couple of yards. That's a loss of at least a yard.
Rio, Atlanta 48. Rio, Atlanta 48
Chris
stop.
Garrett with the stop.
Atlanta 48 stop. Rio, Atlanta 48 stop.
The thicker kicker awaits. Jamar lets it fly, and it flew on him that time. Airmailed it for Sternberger. Joel, I think he had room to run right there.
I mean, well, 2 things. He had Sternberger open, or he could have run. The only thing he didn't want there is an incompletion. And now you've got to go for it. But here's the deal. You have to get the line again. There's no field goal opportunity even if you're close here. So now it's all about the first down line.
We're going to go Florida 46 safe.
Florida 46 safe. I want running.
Running out of time on the play clock as well. And they're going to have to get a timeout.
Now they got one timeout.
Second time out of the half. Birmingham.
The matchup is Sternberger.
30 seconds in duration.
That's the matchup that has been open over the middle of the field.
You know what I mean? We got to go to the 40-yard line to kick a field goal. All right? I'm going 46 safe. Going Rob empty. Going Florida 46 safe. So we've got a fade and a slant to your left. You know what I mean? To pick up the first down, but we got to get 10. Yes, you got the swing.
He has such faith in Sternberger, and I think that was the one occasion where Jamar had a little indecisiveness.
Well, again, they have to get the line to gain. There is no snap after this. The field goal should be removed from their mind right now. This is about a 4th down snap. He says he's got a fade and a slant down here on the left side.
Here's your ball game. Smith's pass caught at the 40. Jordan Thomas. Exactly what he needed by 1 yard.
Holy cow. It's a great route, a great ball, terrific execution, and now they'll go quickly.
I think we had a flag.
Oh, that removes them from field goal range.
It does.
Holy cow.
Okay, the clock was running.
And that's a 10-second runoff.
Yep.
No, can I avoid the penalty? Here we go. We need 5 yards now. Need 5 yards. Okay. Yep. Yes, yes. Hey, 11.
False start. Offense. Number 69. 5-yard penalty. Go first down.
Barry Wesley in for Keaton Sutherland.
There will be a 10-second
at guard.
Reset the game clock.
Saw that movement.
55 seconds. 5 seconds it will start on my signal.
So now you need 5.
Now got to have 5 yards to attempt a field goal.
And Harrison Mavis, a.k.a. the thicker kicker, awaits his opportunity.
Watch out for this pass rush. The crowd noise. You've got Tamu Apeno on the top side of your screen. There he is, best in the UFL. Travis Feeney has had quite a days on the opposite side. This pass rush has been so effective all day long.
One timeout left for Birmingham. And that timeout obviously is to give their kicker an opportunity to get set for a potential game winner. 1st and 15, ball's on the ground. All kinds of havoc now. And Smith does what he can to get back to the line. Clock continues to tick.
Leo, Celtic 49. Leo, Celtic 49.
He'd rather save his timeout to try to get his field goal unit on the field, but he needs 5 yards here.
And there it comes to Maribel. The ball's on the ground. Fumble. Battlehawks believe they've got it. Maribel almost had the 5 yards, and then the ball popped free. I mean, he was right where they needed to be at the 38-yard line. It is St. Louis football. Miles Jones on top of it. And Anthony Becht looks like a split watermelon over there, smiling from ear to ear.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field confirmed first down.
Joel, I think he had enough yardage for a potential field goal here, and then the ball comes free, wrapped up by Travis Feeney, who knocks it out. And then Miles Jones, 24, out of Duke, with the recovery for St. Louis.
This defense has been so good. Really the reason why they've been on this run and won 3 straight games. They've been terrific. Today they had 3 sacks already on the day. Now forcing another turnover. Travis Feeney has been outstanding. Maribel coughs it up. St. Louis gets the win at home and could be sealing their playoff fate here pending that DC game tomorrow.
Domapino and Feeney collaborated on that strip to help get that ball free.
The runner is still upright. It's clearly a fumble.
He was appealing. Skip was. That's why we have the momentary pause.
The ball was out.
It's a worthwhile super challenge, but to no avail.
A fumble recovered by St. Louis is confirmed. First down.
4 straight wins. How about this run they're on?
And here's the irony of it. Birmingham is still in because of the Michigan win.
That's right.
So it's a good in that respect. And I'm going to tell you, partner, because they're in separate conferences, I believe these two, I'll just tell you now. I know it's my first game, but I've watched a lot.
Yeah,
I think these are the 2 best teams in the league.
Certainly wind up playing each other in a championship game. By the way, that championship for the UFL is back in this stadium regardless of who's in it. And I will tell you, that was a heck of a football game. Plays being made all around, offensively, defensively, but it's the defense of the St. Louis Battlehawks that get the biggest play of all.
I want to thank my crew. I want to thank Scott Alexander, my spotter Brett Bender, our producer Mark Tettleman, Rich Dewey, our director, ADs Caden Pfeiffer, Matt Gale, Andrew Wolf, our BAs Grant Loonsberry and Jack Russo, Brooks Clark, our sideline producer, Mike Del Tufo in audio, our TD Zach Greenberg. For all of them and for all of us here at Fox, thanks for being with us. We really enjoyed it. What a game in the UFL on Fox.